Already covered the main thrust of my presentation, which is that Srila Prabhupada, in the heart of his disciple especially, is the greatest person who ever walked on this earth. And if you try to compare his activities or you calculate it, you will see factually that no one has done what he has done. But there's also a sense of love and appreciation for Srila Prabhupada in the personalist philosophy, which is not just religious dictum. It's something that we experience and you experience daily, or any time you turn your face to the Parampara, to Srila Prabhupada, to your wonderful deities here. So I'm sure you've all experienced that. I'm an insignificant devotee from America, but I had some special exchanges with Srila Prabhupada in the dozens of times that I was with him. I remember one time with this beautiful temple here, when we came in 1974, there was very little. You walk out on the road, it was a dirt road. And we'd go for the morning walk at 6 o'clock with Prabhupada, and we'd walk down that road, and we wouldn't see anyone or anything. One time a Tanga came by, and the driver, as he passed, said, "Jai Radhe." And Srila Prabhupada said, "Hare Krishna." And then Srila Prabhupada turned to us. No one can imagine what he's going to say. This was one of the glories of being with Srila Prabhupada, is that he's on such a divine platform that our minds have no access. So I would always try to get on the morning walk, even though I was like a temple commander or nobody important. One time the GBC said to me after the walk, "What are you doing here?" You just had to be with Prabhupada and hear what he had to say. He's so wonderful. So he says Hare Krishna, and he turns to us and says, "The horse is the most beautiful animal." The last thing you'd think of hearing from a sadhu in Vrindavan. But it's so nicely done with his smile, with his heart, and with his experience. And Shastric learning also. This is stated in scripture, that horses are very beautiful. It's not only his particular unique proclivity. One time in Los Angeles, we were on a morning walk, and I asked Srila Prabhupada, "Srila Prabhupada, in your books you speak so much about Shankara and the Mayavad philosophy. Actually, if you read even Bhagavad-Gita as it is, the first 500 pages he's smashing Mayavad philosophy at every chance he gets. Is it right?" So I opened my big mouth and I said, "Srila Prabhupada, why do you speak so much about Shankara and Mayavad? In the West here," we're walking on the beach in Santa Monica, said, "in the West here, people are not that familiar with his preaching." And Srila Prabhupada summarized the whole argument against Mayavad in one sentence. One concise sutra. He said, he looked at the sky and he said, "With your mind, you cannot conceive of a person who could do something like create a sky." Mayavad philosophy shattered. It's simply mental exercise to try and understand the truth behind the creation. But with your imperfect mind, you cannot understand that there's a transcendental realm with transcendental identity, transcendental personality, and that you yourself are a transcendental soul with personality. And he's trying to give us that life back that we've forgotten. So there were so many wonderful exchanges with him. One time we were up in his office in Los Angeles. There were about 20 devotees sitting around. And Srila Prabhupada made this motion. And his servant says, "Yes, Srila Prabhupada." What do you think Srila Prabhupada told him? "You'll never get it. Bring pineapple juice." He's caring about his devotees. He's saying something which it's not his concoction. This is coming. Every word he says is coming, directed by Rishikesh, the master of the senses. So even if Srila Prabhupada says something like, "Bring pineapple juice," it is a godly experience for the disciple who knows that he is on the godly platform. The first time Radha and I saw him was at one of these famous airport arrival scenes. You've seen in New York how crazy, ecstatic it is. No, in San Francisco in 1971, we had been to various gurus and tried various things, and I was a Timothy Leary man for 1 year. So we found out about Krishna by one of Srila Prabhupada's representatives, which was Allen Ginsberg. He was giving a poetry recital, and he said, "Let's have Kirtan." I thought to myself, what is Kirtan? But Allen Ginsberg had been going to see Prabhupada in Bowery, in the West Village, is it? East Village, New York, and he would chant with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada told him, wherever you go, you sing Hare Krishna and tell people about it. So we had this very ecstatic kirtan. And 9 months later, I found out there was a religion associated with it, so we started going to the temple. So Srila Prabhupada spread the holy name through everyone he met. And we're still grateful to that person. He passed away recently, Ginsberg, but Prabhupada used everyone in spreading the name of Lord Krishna. And his only concern was to help us feel Krishna consciousness. So anyway, we're at this amazing kirtan at the San Francisco airport. Everybody's coming off the plane and they're all in business suits and nice dresses, and they're, what is going on here? 150 devotees chanting feverishly, and Prabhupada's waiting till everybody left the plane, and he comes out, a radiant smile, and just a radiant, profusive shower of compassionate mercy on everyone in the audience. It was very tangible. It was not theoretical. You've been in Prabhupada's presence, you can feel that he's giving you the love and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He lit up the whole place. I mean, and whenever we got a chance to see Srila Prabhupada at an airport, that was an extra special exchange. So today is the appearance of His Divine Grace, the great Acharya of Lord Chaitanya's mercy to mankind. And I'm so honored to be able to share my little experiences with you, and so honored that, as you say, Srimati Radharani has allowed us to come every year since 1974. And when I go back to our town in Alachua, I'll tell our friends and devotees there what great people I met in Vrindavan as well. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. This is an offering or an explanation by Krishna Rupa Devi Dasi, and we generally read the meaning of Vyasa Puja so we can have that understanding. To fully understand the meaning of Vyasa Puja, we first need to understand the meaning of Guru. Throughout the Vaishnava text, the prominence of the spiritual master's role in a disciple's spiritually successful life is repeatedly emphasized. One must worship the Acharya, who is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Discipleship is a two-way street. The aspiring disciple requests his or her selected guru for initiation, and conversely, the guru examines the qualities of that person to determine his or her suitability as a candidate for initiation. This selection acceptance process is not canal, like a job seeker attending an interview with a potential employer. When Krishna sees that the jiva is sincere, he makes the arrangement for the living entity to come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. Our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, commented that Caitanya Charitamrita instructs that the Guru is the manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, according to all the evidence given by the Shastra and by the practical behavior of devotees, one must accept the Guru. What kind of Guru specifically must one accept? Srila Prabhupada explains. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a definition of Guru, Jare Daka Tarakoho Krishna Upadesh. The bona fide Guru is he who advises his disciples exactly in accordance with the principles spoken by Krishna. The bona fide Guru is he who has accepted Krishna as Guru. This is the Guru Parampara system. In one verse, Vyasadeva is the original, in one sense, Vyasadeva is the original Guru. Srila Prabhupada explains, the original Guru is Vyasadeva because he is the speaker of the Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein everything spoken relates to Krishna. Therefore, Guru Puja is known as Vyasa Puja. In the final analysis, the original Guru is Krishna. His disciple is Narada, whose disciple is Vyasa. And in this way, we gradually come in touch with the Guru Parampara. Srila Prabhupada's devotion and immeasurable service to the previous Acharyas, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, are proof of his position as the empowered devotee, the Senapati Bhakta, who revolutionized and transformed our lives in the gloom of Kali Yuga. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, Kali Kaler Dharma Krishna Nam Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Vinanahe Tara Pravartana. The fundamental religious system in the age of Kali is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Unless empowered by Krishna, one cannot propagate the Sankirtan movement. In June 1970, in response to a letter from Tamal Krishna Das, who had inquired about the perfection of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada wrote, a spiritual master is always liberated. In any condition of his life, he should not be mistaken as ordinary human being. Throughout my whole life, I did not know what is illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, or gambling. So far, my present life is concerned, I do not remember any part of my life when I was forgetful of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada also explains in Srimad Bhagavatam that one who is surcharged with transcendental love of Godhead can without difficulty see the personality of Godhead in every atom and every movable or immovable object. At the same time, he can see the personality of Godhead in his own abode, Goloka, enjoying eternal pastimes with his eternal associates. Sitting in Srila Prabhupada's quarters in Mayapur 1976 during his daily afternoon darshan, I personally heard him explain this point. When an inquisitive disciple asked him if a pure devotee sees Krishna everywhere, Prabhupada held out the cup palm of his right hand and replied, even within a drop of water, the pure devotee sees Krishna and his associates in all of his pastimes. This was a mystical moment when we caught a glimpse into Srila Prabhupada's transcendental inner world. Later I read in Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord's pastimes are also being televised in the heart of such a devotee. The allegory of the man who found a gourd lying on the road points to the ingenuity of the bona fide guru. This traveler later found a stick on the path and then a wire. In themselves, the separated items were not particularly useful, but by putting the gourd, the wire, and the stick together, the man made a veena and began to play beautiful music. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada came to the West and, as described in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, found some rejected youths lying here and there, and by Krishna's grace, the combination was successful. As a rock thrown into a pool creates powerful ripples affecting the entire body of water, Srila Prabhupada brought the holy name to the West, purifying a degraded world and indeed inspiring monumental, although not universally acknowledged, change in the broader society. The ripples have eventually become a tsunami, inundating the world with the nectar of Krishna's names. Temple-based kirtans have inspired the practice of chanting these sacred sounds even in more mundane circles. We witness this with the popularity of kirtans at yoga retreats and similar venues around the globe. An essential element of bhakti yoga is therefore to worship and serve the pure devotee, mad bhakta puja by yadika. Krishna advises that worshiping his pure devotee is better than worshiping him directly. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payeche Keba, says Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Without serving a devotee, one cannot be released from the material entanglement. Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself also instructed us to become not servants of Krishna directly, but servants of the servant of Krishna. Worship of Srila Prabhupada and Vyasa Puja Day is not restricted to those who took direct initiation from him. For ISKCON to continue to flourish, it is imperative that all ISKCON members honor Srila Prabhupada's appearance day for at least the next 10,000 years. Inspired by love and respect for his divine grace and deep gratitude for the sacrifices he made for the good of humanity. Keeping our founder Acharya as the focal point of our spiritual society will assure that our spiritual lives will thrive. Shifting the focus spells disaster. Srila Prabhupada has uniquely presented the philosophy and practice of bhakti yoga in a way that is accessible to anyone, regardless of age or gender, background or birth. He has indeed cut the knots of material attachment from the core of our hearts. Just as he referred to his spiritual master, his divine grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as a Vaikuntha man. So we too describe our Srila Prabhupada as no ordinary spiritual master, but as Lord Chaitanya's Senapati Bhakta, the commander-in-chief of his army of devotees. This honorific is not to be taken as exaggeration or dismissed as an overflowing of the sentiments of his followers. Sri Chaitanya Mangala, Srila Lochan Das Thakur describes how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself predicted the future appearance of a great Senapati Bhakta. Taking the sharp sword of the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, I will root out and destroy the demoniac mentality in the hearts of all the conditioned souls. If some sinful people escape and giving up religious principles go to far-off countries, then my Senapati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada is without doubt the Senapati Bhakta to be honored by all Vaishnavas. 1967, due to ill health, Srila Prabhupada planned to return to India to recuperate. His impending departure in June of that year caused much speculation and deep concern. Could his neophyte disciples carry on if he never returned? Chapter 12 of the Hare Krishna Explosion, Hayagriva Das writes, some of the devotees worried that Swamiji had decided to go to India to leave his body, asked him whether during his absence one of his godbrothers should come to America to assume ISKCON leadership. The minute this question was presented to him, we sensed that it was offensive. Swami became very grave, closing his eyes, and for a moment he seemed to consider it. Then suddenly we saw tears flowing down his cheeks. My Guru Maharaj, he was no ordinary spiritual master, he said, wiping away the tears. He saved me. Later, Swamiji told us that we should have always known there was no one to replace him. The very idea was insulting. If someone comes and tells you something different, he said, you will be confused. The subject was dropped forever. Srila Prabhupada writes in the concluding words to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, although according to material vision, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada passed away from this material world on the last day of December 1936, I still consider His Divine Grace to be always present with me by His Vani, His words. I think that His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is always seeing my activities and guiding me within my heart by His words. It is to be admitted that whatever translation work I have done is through the inspiration of my spiritual master, because personally, I am most insignificant and incompetent to do this materially impossible work. I do not think myself a very learned scholar, but I have full faith in the service of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If there's any credit to my activities of translating, it is all due to His Divine Grace. In Srimad Bhagavatam purport, Srila Prabhupada instructs us how to worship Him by paraphrasing Guru Vashtaka 7. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has advised that the spiritual master acting on the Supreme Lord's behalf must be worshipped as being as good as the Supreme Lord, for He is the Lord's most confidential servant in broadcasting the Lord's message for the benefit of the conditioned souls involved in the material world. The Vyasa Puja ceremony therefore celebrates the transcendental position of that spiritual master coming in a disciplic succession. He is the Supreme Personality of Servitor God. The introductory paragraph of this essay discussed the importance of accepting a guru in the disciplic succession as an essential step for advancement in Krishna consciousness. Additionally, the kind of guru is of critical importance. The spiritual master is one who has himself served the pure devotee in the disciplic succession. Trying to develop spiritual life without accepting a bona fide guru will lead only to failure. In March 1975 in Atlanta, on the appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada delivered a discourse in which he emphatically instructed his disciples on the importance of accepting a bona fide spiritual master. To try to receive Krishna's grace through the disciplic succession coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you will understand everything. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru. This is the process, Vedic process. One should have unflinching faith in God and spiritual master. Don't jump over to God crossing the spiritual master. Then it will be failure. You must go through. We are observing Vyasa Puja ceremony, the birth anniversary of our Guru Maharaj. Why? We cannot understand Krishna without spiritual master. If anyone wants to understand Krishna by jumping over the spiritual master, then immediately he becomes a bogus. Therefore, Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, Guru Krishna Kripaya Poi Bhakti Lata Bij. That is Vedic injunction. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. No one can understand Krishna without going through his most confidential servant. This is the meaning of this Vyasa Puja. You cannot surpass. If you think that you have become very learned and very advanced, now you can avoid the spiritual master and you can understand Krishna, that is bogus. That is the meaning of this Vyasa Puja ceremony. We should always pray, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasada. Yasya Prasadat, only by the grace of the spiritual master can we achieve the grace or mercy of Krishna. This is the meaning of this Vyasa Puja, offering obeisances by parampara system. Further exploring the meaning of Vyasa Puja, we can pose this question: how should this sacred and ancient tradition be conducted? On February 25th, 1970, on Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Vyasa Puja Day, the Los Angeles devotees saw Srila Prabhupada offer artik to a large picture of his Guru Maharaj. After the artik, he directed his disciples in offering flowers to the picture of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Still standing before the picture, he said he had nothing to offer his spiritual master on that day except his disciples. He then read out loud the names of all his disciples. By contrast, in Tokyo later that year, on the 74th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's appearance, it was apparent that the devotees did not know how to observe the etiquette of celebrating the spiritual master's Vyasa Puja. He asked the devotees whether they had not seen how he had observed the Vyasa Puja of his spiritual master in Los Angeles. Confused by his request for the pushpa, flowers, the devotees brought pushpana, rice instead. Srila Prabhupada scolded his disciples for concocting and for acting improperly. He said that in devotional service, everything must be done properly, according to the parampara method, without fabrication. The next day, wrote Satsvarup Das Goswami in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, a simple traditional ceremony was performed and the devotees felt ecstatic. By pleasing the spiritual master, then everyone is pleased. All the practitioners of Bhakti Yoga are duty-bound to be loyal servants of the parampara system, being mindful of the correct way of performing devotional services to the Lord and the spiritual master. Thus, the Vyasa Puja celebration epitomizes the true meaning of faithfully following in the line of our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, without deviation and with full concentration. The Vyasa Puja Day is the grand and solemn occasion when we join together throughout the world to honor our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. With hearts full of deep spiritual emotions, we meditate on the sacrifices he made out of love for his spiritual master and for all of us. Like the sparrow trying to dry up the ocean, we attempt to glorify him and express our deep love and respect for him. In a letter to Bali Mardandas dated August 25, 1970, Srila Prabhupada wrote, "The spiritual master is the representative of Vyasadeva because he carries the message of Vyasadeva throughout the world. As members of ISKCON, we specifically rededicate ourselves to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, the great representative of Vyasa on Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja Day. We can also resolve that every day throughout the whole year we will rededicate ourselves to serving him and his movement, and remembering that Srila Prabhupada is always with us through his Vani. Again in the Lilamrita, Satsvarup Das Goswami recounts the intense feelings of separation two members of Srila Prabhupada's fledgling movement experienced due to his impending return to America in December 1967, after a 6-month sojourn in India to regain his health. When the day for Srila Prabhupada's departure finally arrived, he gave last instructions to Achyutananda and Ramanuja. Quote, "Just pray to Lord Krishna that I can go to America," he requested Achyutananda. "How can I?" Achyutananda replied. "You'll be leaving me." "No," Srila Prabhupada replied. "We'll always remain packed up together if you remember my teachings. If you preach, you will become strong, and all these teachings will be in the proper perspective. When we stop our preaching, then everything becomes stagnated and we lose our life. If we remain sincere and honor Srila Prabhupada not only on his Vyasa Puja Day, but every moment of our lives, his ISKCON will continue to thrive and our lives will be successful. We will remain packed up with Srila Prabhupada. The mission of the spiritual master is the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, and Srila Prabhupada's mission is our mission. That is the true meaning of Vyasa Puja, Krishna Rupa Devi Dasi. Srila Prabhupada ki!
Such a wonderful explanation of Vyasa Puja by Krishna Rupa Devi Dasi. Thank you so much. Each and every program, each and every facet of the preaching of ISKCON was personally described by Srila Prabhupada, and he inspired various disciples to do various things. Where there has been some error, where there has been some fault, where a particular program hasn't been undertaken perfectly, is simply owing to the incapacity of the disciple rather than the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. The most important aspect of Srila Prabhupada's preaching of his ISKCON movement was and is book distribution. Every day, after Mangalarti, when they read the book scores, I listen very carefully. I get very excited at the thought of each piece of literature that's gone out to some person, perhaps for the first time understanding Krishna consciousness, just as we, at some point, read our first ISKCON book. It's very, very exciting for me, exciting for all of us to hear those scores. The leading contribution to the book scores in ISKCON Vrindavan is matchless gifts. Each day, there's 400 pieces of literature. That's 2,000 books a week. That's 100,000 books, 1 lakh of books every single year. The person who has led this program, the person who has spread this, is a wonderful disciple of Bhaktivedanta Swami. We'd like to ask her to come and speak now. Devi Shakti Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. The lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave today had all the points that I wanted to bring out today to glorify Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was the perfect example of Bhagavad-Gita. He executed all of his duties, and then at the proper time, he renounced and became fully dedicated to the instructions of his spiritual master. So we heard today that Prabhupada was a chemist. Actually, one time Prabhupada asked one of his disciples, what do you do? The disciple, he was a drug dealer. he said, I sell drugs, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, oh, I used to do that also. So Prabhupada's vision was absolutely pure and Krishna conscious. So as a chemist, Prabhupada made formulas. We heard of Day's ointment and Prabhupada's toothpaste. We used to hear a little bit when devotees were sick, he would know exactly what to do. So these formulas, comes from a scientific brain. You have a problem and you solve it. That's the scientific brain. Krishna is the greatest scientist. One time, Brahmatirtha, Bob Cohen, in his Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, he was a science teacher. So he asked Prabhupada, well, what should I teach as science? He said, you teach, here's hydrogen, here's oxygen, look at the oceans, how many tons of hydrogen and oxygen there. Now, who created all of that hydrogen and oxygen? It doesn't matter how the hydrogen and oxygen came together. We want to look at the supreme scientist. So Prabhupada, in his preaching, he created formulas for us. Now, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, he was explaining to Prabhupada that in the scientific field, there's something called statistical factor. Now, that's scientific language, but what it means is error. Because when you have formulas in material science, there's always a statistical factor. That means there's always going to be some mistake because it's imperfect. It's coming from the imperfect brain. But Prabhupada's formulas, they were completely without any error. So we know about Prabhupada's peace formula. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam. So Prabhupada said, if we really want peace, and he used to give this lecture many times and write about it also, the real peace formula is if we understand that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, that he's the supreme controller, and that he's the friend of all living entities. So for us to apply Prabhupada's formulas, I collected some of Prabhupada's formulas that I'm going to follow now. For instance, for book distribution, if one wants to become a successful book distributor, he said that formula is, you chant 16 rounds attentively and follow the 4 regulative principles. He said for preaching, if you want to be a successful preacher, you follow the regulative principles and you preach only according to the acharyas. Now, when we're preaching, sometimes we become angry. There's a conversation. A lot of times I become angry. So Prabhupada gave the formula for that. He said, if you're preaching and you become angry, you always remember the sloka, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna. Because then, wherever we are, we can remain humble. He gave a formula for how to go back to Godhead. And that is to, even if we can't understand, we should try to understand Krishna's Leela. And just by that attempt, Krishna will take us back to Godhead. He says that, Janma Mritu, Janma Karma Chamedavyam, excuse me. So Prabhupada's formulas were perfect. And because we had the opportunity to serve Srila Prabhupada as his disciples, he straightened us out. No speculation, no wandering. So I had that example here with Srila Prabhupada. He would watch what I was doing, and he would call me in and correct me, very scientifically, because Prabhupada was so efficient. Otherwise, if he wasn't so efficient, how could he have accomplished so much? 2 classes a day, every day, wherever he went, morning and evening, and constantly traveling. We know how long it takes for us to recover. Prabhupada was like clockwork. Wherever he was, he just picked up to that time frame and started from there. He was just a miracle. Who could do that? 2 classes a day, writing, at least 3 hours a night. From 1 to 4, Prabhupada would write. Plus answering at least 20 letters a day. Prabhupada's capacity to perform devotional service was superhuman. So he watched his disciples, and he would cut us in different ways. He called me in one day, he said, when did you start cooking? I said, about 2 years ago, Srila Prabhupada. He said, no, what time did you start cooking? I said, 9 o'clock. He said, from now on, you come in at 11 o'clock, and I want the lunch at 1 o'clock. I couldn't understand, how was I going to do it? So Prabhupada, he knew that if you get your rounds chanted before you start a service, then that service becomes efficient. So I had time then to chant before I was chanting at 11 o'clock at night. But now Prabhupada was training me how to use every second in his service and still do the exact same service. Then nighttime, he saw I was in the kitchen 11 o'clock at night making the Mangal Arti sweets. No, from now on you must leave the kitchen 9 o'clock. Well, how was I going to do it? But Prabhupada, when he gave an instruction, he gave the intelligence at the same time how to do it. So, Sri Krishna, when he was in Mathura, not only the gopis and all the Brijbasis were feeling extreme separation from Krishna, but it was reciprocal. He was feeling separation from them also. So he called his dear friend Uddhava, and he explained to him that all the Brijbasis, their minds are like turtles. And in the hot season, that means at the time of separation, the water evaporates. So what do? The turtles, they dig down into the mud. And that mud is hope. And that hope for us, because physically we're separated from Srila Prabhupada now, that hope is that again we can serve Prabhupada and learn from him, because when Prabhupada gives personal instructions, and all of his instructions in his books are personal. It's not that just because Prabhupada said something to one person, it relates to all of us when Prabhupada gives an instruction. So we can just pray on this day that in this mud of hope, we're just praying that eternally we can serve Srila Prabhupada. For instance, in this temple, we are feeding Srila Prabhupada in how many places? We feed him here in the temple, we feed him in his samadhi, we feed him at the Radha Damodar temple, we feed him in Prabhupada's house. 4 times he's being fed here in the temple. Now why? We're feeding him because we want him to live on. We understand that Prabhupada is still existing. So therefore we continue our service to Prabhupada. It's not just a mausoleum, Prabhupada's Samadhi. He's present there. And we as his followers and disciples, we should continue our service with that mentality that yes, Prabhupada is not physically present with us now, but the hope is there that again, we can serve Prabhupada presently, this lifetime, next lifetime, whenever he calls us, so that next lifetime he can continue cutting us. Now the other example is, Prabhupada mentioned Harikesh. Harikesh was so intelligent, he didn't want anyone to do anything else for Prabhupada except for him. He was secretary, cook, servant, everything. He was so attached to Prabhupada's service. So Prabhupada understood that about him, and what did he do? He kicked him out. He said, get out of here. Go preach. And where did he send him? To the most difficult place, the Eastern European countries that were all communists at the time. And he missed Prabhupada so much that he wanted to please Prabhupada. So he printed books in different languages, because that pleases Prabhupada the most when he sees his books printed. And when Prabhupada was here, just before he left this world, he brought Prabhupada 7 books in 7 different languages. And Prabhupada was just crying with pleasure, stroking his head. And he said, "You understand now why I sent you away. It wasn't a punishment. It's because I knew you could do so much." So now we're in separation from Prabhupada, and we have to figure out a way that we get Prabhupada's pleasure. For me, it's book distribution. It could be anybody. Prabhupada gave different instructions to different devotees. So each of you pick out some formula that Prabhupada gave. If you want to be happy, if you want to be Narada Muni, if you want to be like Narada Muni, his formula was, you take Krishna Prasadam, you chant, and you dance. That's how you become like Narada Muni. So you look for these formulas that are completely without error. Pick them up and make your life successful by trying to please Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Deva Shakti Mataji, for explaining and unpacking the formula of hope whereby we can attain Srila Prabhupada's pleasure. The next speaker is the senior devotee. He came with Srila Prabhupada 1969, 1970. He came with Srila Prabhupada with a dozen other American devotees. He's residing here in Vrindavan, very senior man with lots and lots of Krishna conscious experience. His Grace, Gopal Prabhu.
Namo Vishnu Vidai Krishna Pastai Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharane Nirvise Shisunyavadi Visvajitasadarane. So this is perhaps the most auspicious day that we can experience in our lifetimes. In the beginning, Panchagoda Prabhu said that today is a day that we glorify the accomplishments of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes it's hard, beings that, unlike many devotees who had a little association with Srila Prabhupada, but continued to render service to him. Myself, I was very fortunate to be chosen to be one of the pioneers in this Krishna consciousness movement. And every one of us, by reading Srila Prabhupada's books and engaging in devotional service as he had instructed us, some particular thing will be profound, and it will stay with you, and it will be an incentive for you to continue to render devotional service to Srila Prabhupada. This one comment that Srila Prabhupada made was that what is the highest type of service? Who knows the answer that Prabhupada gave? The highest type of service that one can render is service in separation. So these were the motivations that Srila Prabhupada left India. He left the Gaudiya Math and was determined to fulfill the desires that his spiritual master had given him, and that was to go to the West and to preach to us scruffy, no accounts, this wonderful science of self-realization. So for me, because having no qualifications, something so profound as always being ready to render devotional service in separation. Now, I came here to India with 13 devotees, and the opportunities we had as a group, we were there together in the room, and we were able to hear Srila Prabhupada's classes and all of the instructions that Srila Prabhupada was imparting to us. But how each one of us realized or took from those instructions was different. So who knows the answer to this? What does Krishna say in Bhagavad-Gita? As you surrender to me, I will reward you accordingly. So some devotees perhaps were willing to give a little bit more than other devotees, and others were still consumed with doubts. And how is doubts described in Bhagavad-Gita? They're described as demons, right? And so these demons can be that which can destroy your kripa. So, as I said, I'm never claiming to be a scholar, to be very intelligent, but this struck me very deeply that Prabhupada said that the highest service is to render service in separation. And what does this separation mean? The separation means that first you have to be willing to leave the association of your most beloved spiritual master. You have to be willing to leave the association of whatever assembled devotees may be there, and go, and just as Srila Prabhupada came to the United States and he followed the instructions of his Guru Maharaj, began to preach. So the highest service that if any of you want to make advancement in your spiritual life is become fearless. Don't be afraid. When Srila Prabhupada came to the United States, what type of resources did he have? He had nothing. He had no money. He had just one suitcase of the first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam that he had printed in India. He had no contacts or anything such as this. So this society, when it began to expand, how did it expand? It expanded because there were devotees that they were willing to step up and emulate Srila Prabhupada by going. At the time, there was no temples anywhere in the world. You know, I used to think Srila Prabhupada incorporated ISKCON in New York and called it the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And I would think this is not an international society, because at that time there were only 7 temples in ISKCON. So it says, how can this be an international society? But as time began to progress, Srila Prabhupada began to disclose his plans how to expand and to spread ISKCON. So he wasn't looking at himself as being the one that was going to accomplish this. He was looking at us sitting in his assembly. This one little story, it happened at the Kumbh Mela festival, the first festival we had, and sometimes Srila Prabhupada would read letters to us because we were separated from everything that was going on in America, and the communication facilities aren't like they are today, where we have cell phones and all kinds of apparatuses. Everything had to be done by letters, and it would write a letter and it'd take 2 weeks for the letter, or 3 weeks for the letter to reach here in India. And Prabhupada was reading the letter, and in this letter, it was from Balaram, and at this time, the GBC had just been started. It was a new entity in ISKCON, and Balaram mentioned in that letter that Singapore would be a good place to preach. And so when Srila Prabhupada saw this, he took off his glasses and he put down the letter, and he looked at all of us. Maybe there wasn't as many even as there are in this room here, and he said, "Who will go?" So meaning, who will go to Singapore? And immediately, of course, those words rung dear into my heart, and I was waiting for someone who might have been senior to me. So in those days, if you had joined 1 month before this boy here, then you were a senior devotee. And so I waited, and no one seemed to respond. And I was thinking, what's wrong? All these boys, they have a chance to serve Prabhupada. No one is saying anything. And a longer moment of silence took place. And then I raised my hand and said, "Prabhupada." He says, "I will go." So immediately Prabhupada became very happy. Now in my mind I was thinking, oh, I will go, but I will stay with this group of devotees, and we will continue traveling around India, and we'll go to this program, and we'll go to this program, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. And then somewhere in the future, I will go. But then he says, you will leave immediately. And for Srila Prabhupada, immediately means now, right now, at this very moment, without wasting any time. And then another boy raised his hand. I think it might have been a Treya Rishi or someone. He said, "Prabhupada, I'll go to Iran." And then another devotee says, "Prabhupada, I'll go." The orders of countries I don't remember because that's 50 years ago. But says, "I will go here, I will go there." And then at that moment, I could understand that now ISKCON is an international society, and my health has not been good, as many of you can see, but I feel that this obligation to continue pushing Prabhupada's movement isn't finished, because I think I'm old, I'm 70 years old, but how old was Srila Prabhupada when he started? He was 70 years old. So he was willing at that age, having much less facilities than we have at our disposal today, to take his instructions from his Guru Maharaj as his sustenance for living in this material world and accomplishing this goal to spread Lord Chaitanya's mission all over. So we know Lord Chaitanya had made the statement that in every town and village my holy name will be known. So this question I've asked before in assemblages such as these, that there are many towns and villages, even 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers from here, there are towns and villages where people are not chanting Hare Krishna. And my question is always, so if we are going to fulfill the prophecies of Lord Chaitanya by spreading this chanting of Hare Krishna to every town and village, that responsibility now is resting on our shoulders. So, without any hesitation, who is ready at this very moment to pack your bag and leave this temple and go to a nearby village and begin preaching? No facilities, no money, no contacts. Who will do it? Let me see your hands. If you raise your hand, it means you must go now.
Before Prasad.
Yes, before prasadam. That's what Prabhupada told me. You must go now. So, until we can develop this type of service to our Guru Maharaj, then our society will remain mediocre. So this holy name is prophesied to be heard and chanted in every town, in every village, in the entire world. So starting here with this group of nice devotees, let's fulfill Srila Prabhupada's fulfill his desire. And what was his desire? To satisfy his Guru Maharaj. So this is the chain of disciplic succession. The knowledge is passed from one guru to the next, and then from the next guru to the next guru. And so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj instructed Srila Prabhupada, you go. And so what did Prabhupada do? He didn't say mañana. Mañana means later in Spanish. He said, okay. And he left. He went begging to get a ticket on Scindia line. And he came here with just one letter with the name of somebody who lived in Boston and had nothing but an old rickety suitcase with a typewriter and a few books. So for me, I was very fortunate. The first books I got were those books that Prabhupada printed here in India. So at that time there was no other books, nothing. You have such a voluminous quantity of literature to read, but such a simpleton as I am, any question or doubt or curiosity that I had about spiritual life and my purpose in this material world, Srila Prabhupada answered immediately in that first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. And those answers still retain the same truth and the potency as they did 52 years ago. So I would humbly request that someone step forward. My health is bad, but I have made it a determination. As soon as I get a little better, I'm going to go out again. So the process and the methods by which you can be successful have been given to us. All you have to do is implement Srila Prabhupada's instructions.
Thank you very much. Gopal Prabhu. And now I'd like to call upon a very senior devotee who's been very instrumental in promoting higher learning amongst the Vaishnavas. His Grace, Prabhu.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His Grace, Guru.
Om Ganataminandasya Jana Jana Salakaya Saksasumilatan Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Caitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale. Tell it to be quiet. Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sarpandantikam Vansakopatubhyascha Kripasindu Vacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamine Tanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nivasesha Sunyavadi Praskatya Desatarane. When we hear such senior devotees like Gopal Prabhu speak after not having seen Prabhupada for so many years, we can just understand how powerful Prabhupada was to have touched his heart so deeply, and so much so that in his very frail health, he's ready to go out. Dhamma. Please turn it off. Well, it's important, but it's not important right now. Yeah, thank you. So Gopal Prabhu spoke about Prabhupada's mercy and wanting everyone to preach, and so much of that preaching was to spread Krishna's holy names all over the world. And the result of that preaching ultimately is that individuals like each and every one of us become touched and moved by Prabhupada's mercy, Mahaprabhu's mercy in the form of the holy names. I wrote a Vyasa Puja offering to Srila Prabhupada for this occasion, but I would prefer to read the offering of His Holiness Gunagraj Maharaj's. Gunagraj Maharaj, when I spoke to him yesterday, and he's very, very close to the end of his life, and his legs are basically the size of my arm, and he's so weak, and he's so fortunate by Prabhupada's mercy that he's in Sri Vrindavan Dham at this most difficult time. Yesterday he said to me, "You don't know how difficult it is." And I find it terrifying. It is so difficult to be dying in this way and having to watch such a sincere soul go through this process. So I said to him yesterday, appreciating, because he's such a Kirtan man. He loves, Kirtan is everything for him. And he's preached all over the world. He was inspired, as Gopal Prabhu was talking about, Prabhupada inspired him to preach all over the world. And for the last 10 or more years, he's been in South America, which tends to be somewhat a neglected place of the world for the ISKCON traveling preachers. So I noticed in watching him deal with the devotees who come to his room every night, how welcoming he is. He welcomes everyone. And it doesn't make a difference who they are, what they look like. He accepts everyone. He accepts everyone into the Kirtan. And last night, even though he was almost, it looked like he was about to leave this world, when the Kirtan was going on, there was a wonderful Kirtan going on, and he started raising his hands in the air, and I was holding his hand, and I was moving my hand in a simple 1, 2, 3 beat, but he's a drummer. So he started pressing back in this very intricate beat that I couldn't even understand, practically speaking. And then he raised his hands in the air, and he was encouraging everyone to chant. It was impossible, practically speaking. But it was possible by the potency, by the power of the holy names, that a person so close to death has the energy to encourage, and the mood and the spirit to encourage others to chant. It is astounding. We saw it in Gopal's offering. We saw it last night in Gunagraj Maharaj's. Sometimes he doesn't want to see anyone, but when the Kirtan starts, his hands are raised and encouraging everyone. It's astounding. Where is that power coming from? It is the inspiration that Srila Prabhupada has placed in his heart by the mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. We should not underestimate the mercy, because everyone's going to have to face this most difficult time that we can't understand now while we're living in the city of our body. We can't understand, as Maharaj said, how difficult it is. But this mercy that Prabhupada wants us to distribute and also take ourselves, Prabhupada once told me, or my presence, that it is not an export business that we're distributing just for others. We have to take it ourselves. So when I asked Gunagraj Maharaj how he did that, what was his secret for encouraging everyone, for accepting everyone, for welcoming everyone, his answer was, that is how Srila Prabhupada treated us. That is how Srila Prabhupada treated us. And that is the spirit that Gopal Prabhu was speaking of. So without telling you much more of my thoughts, I would like to read what Gunagraj Maharaj wrote several months ago. He couldn't do it now, practically speaking, but this is what he wrote several months ago to Srila Prabhupada. I asked his permission. He wanted to come this morning, and if you would see him, you would all be crying. But he really wanted to come, but the spirit was willing, but his body was completely incapable. But he wanted to come, so I asked him if I could read it on his behalf, and he kindly allowed me to do so. And the way he's such a perfectionist too, that he wrote this and then edited it and wrote it again and edited it again and edited it again and edited it again until it said exactly what he wanted it to say. So please listen carefully. I always want to know, and you will probably be very interested as well, is what is important to a person at the time of their passing from this world. What inspiration, what is important for them. So this is what is important to Gunagraj Swami. Please listen carefully. Dear most Srila Prabhupada, please accept my prostrated obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. On this most auspicious day of your Vyasa Puja, I would like to share with you that during this challenging period of my life, which is filled with the difficulties of advanced cancer, what is most important to me are your wonderful self and your gifts. And first among those glorious gifts is the divine Kirtan of the holy name. My first taste of that divine name, which came at a Sunday feast Kirtan in Buffalo, New York in 1969, impacted me in a way that I had never felt before. It gave me newfound faith. Came in a Kirtan in Buffalo, New York in 1968, which impacted me in a way that I had never felt before. It gave me newfound faith in your Lord Krishna, along with faith in the knowledge that you were imparting. It forever changed the direction of my life and established you as the captain of my ship and my lowly self as the sweeper of its deck. During those early years, my faith and enthusiasm for Kirtan kept increasing the more I heard you and saw your ecstatic smile and transcendental energy, such as when you leaped into the air in ecstasy at those memorable Rath Yatra Kirtans in San Francisco in the early 70s, and as you chanted and danced enthusiastically in your temples and on Harinams, undeterred by your aging body and failing health. In these and in many other ways, you never stopped showing through your example and your instructions that holding Kirtan, both amongst ourselves and for the general public, is our true life and soul. Since that very special moment at the Sunday feast in 1969, when Krishna became real to me, you have led me on a most wonderful adventure that never seems to end. He told me with that first Kirtan, a taste entered his heart that was so different from any taste that he had experienced in the material world. And at that time, he gave himself to Srila Prabhupada. As the years have passed, I have taken part in thousands of joyous kirtans filled with the happiness of chanting congregationally. I have experienced the miracle of Krishna's holy names working magic on me and many others, making devotees out of sinners, removing interpersonal problems, inspiring bonding amongst individuals, and even making friends out of enemies. Along with some devotees who are caring for me, I've now in Vrindavan a most special land that I have been given access to by your mercy alone. I've been here for over 2 years. Each night we welcome guests to our Vrindavan Kirtan Sangha, which by Krishna's grace has become a well-known event internationally. And also the very highlight of my life. I know devotees in different parts of India who have seen the broadcast of these kirtans and want to come just because of seeing this, want to come and be with Maharaj. It is the highlight of my life. In fact, it has given me life, thanks to your divine grace. I never cease to be amazed by the variety of our guests, the excitement we all feel, the joy and affection amongst us, and my feeling and mood after having taken shelter of the devotees in the kirtan, even after I may have first felt too much discomfort to even leave my bed to enter the adjoining room to attend the kirtan. In fact, many days I felt so inspired by the kirtan that after getting help to get dressed, I then walked unassisted to the kirtan and dive in. And by the time the kirtan ends and the loving interactions have come to a close, my pains and my woes, my difficulties, miraculously seem hardly worth paying attention to. What a marvelous natural pain medicine, and what a benediction to have been given that medicine, the holy names, by your divine grace. Among your many gifts resulting from our kirtan, Srila Prabhupada, one I find very special is that young, blossoming devotees who I have just met or even I have known in their intimacy, childhood or youth, and who have grown up under your shelter, have been coming to our Sangha, playing instruments, leading the most inspiring kirtans, and having been inspired in their own homes and yatras. The association of these devotees is wonderful. And for me to connect with them while we chant and then to bond with them more intimately after kirtan are experiences I will always cherish. And the friendships continue. And lastly, I find it of ultimate significance and certainly remarkable that you have shown by the success of your glorious worldwide movement that due to your dedication, purity, and unalloyed surrender, you have achieved your cherished goal of fulfilling the prediction of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and the desire of the Guru Parampara that the holy name of the Lord would be heard in every town and village of the world. I feel truly blessed and fortunate to be taking part. Kirtan is filling the hearts of your devotees and bringing together people of all classes, nationalities, and ages who enthusiastically chant and dance together as they gradually break free of all bodily distinctions. Your gift truly offers all of us that taste of the nectar we always sought but had never been able to identify until you found us and rescued us. In our Kirtan room is a large, beautiful painting of your divine grace done by a dear friend. In that painting, you are smiling in great happiness and showering your infinite mercy on us all. I so badly need that mercy and the sublime shelter of the holy names, especially during this most challenging time. So, Srila Prabhupada, I thank you and thank you again and again. Wherever I am, I pray that your divine self and your simple truth, just chant Hare Krishna, will remain forever foremost in my heart. Praying to remain your humble servant always, Gunagrahi Das Goswami. No, that's enough. This is my offering. To show the mercy of Prabhupada and how powerful it is and how he can touch everyone's heart if we allow him entrance by hearing his divine instructions.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Grace Guru Jan Prabhu. We have a devotee within our midst. He's been here for some time. He's come from California. He would like to offer homage to Srila Prabhupada. Krishnamurti Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Namam Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shanti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurapane Bacharni Navasesh Sunyavadi Paschakti Deshatharni. Hare Krishna, unlike all of the elevated God brothers and God sisters, I'm not an advanced devotee. I've been working to support a big family in the last 25 years, neglecting reading Prabhupada's books. So, by Krishna's inspiration, I took Varnaprast and I'm settled here to make a very deep study of the books. And I'm waiting for Srila Prabhupada to give me some meaningful service that will please him, because I'm not very qualified. Every year I tell one story. Srila Prabhupada had a letter from a devotee who was struggling. He was having problems smoking marijuana, and he was very depressed. So some new bhaktas, a new bhakta, husband and wife, came in Prabhupada's room for a darshan. This is way back when. And Srila Prabhupada told his then secretary, bring that letter and read it. So the devotee couldn't understand, why would Srila Prabhupada have me read a letter from a devotee who's in Maya and having so much difficulty? But he brought it and read the letter completely. And at the end, this is the tearjerker part for me, part that always brings a tear to my eyes. Srila Prabhupada said, just see how much he was struggling to please Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada had that amazing gift that he would always see the good in everyone. Any devotee that did any little service, he was so appreciative. Just like there was one devotee, Siddhar Swarup. He left the company of devotees, started his own program way back when. He moved to Hawaii in the 70s. And at the time when Srila Prabhupada was about to leave his body, he sent him a letter. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm praying for you. I hope you recover. I'm always thinking of you. Please forgive any offenses I made. And do you still remember me? And Srila Prabhupada sent back word. He said, yes, I remember you. How can I forget? Srila Prabhupada remembered any little service that anyone does, whether you're washing a pot, whether you're distributing books, worshiping the deities, and anything we do for Krishna is greatly appreciated by Srila Prabhupada. And I had some other points too, but the other more elevated souls mentioned them all already. And as Gopal Prabhu was saying, I'm a work in progress. I'm still waiting for some meaningful service and studying the books. Srila Prabhupada said at one time, the devotee said, I don't understand so many things, Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, just read the books. And if you still don't understand, read them again. You'll get all your answers. So that's what I'm doing now, and I'm feeling very enlivened by doing so, and I am getting answers. So I'm very happy to be here by Srila Prabhupada's grace, and that's about all I have to say. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Krishnamurti. I would like to now call upon Senior Lady, wonderful disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who in recent years has been giving so much spiritual counseling to devotees and non-devotees who are in a very diseased condition, perhaps nearing their end, and to family and relatives of such people. The grace Naradaki. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Speak up.
Too?
Speak
Okay. I always like to meditate on Srila Prabhupada's giving answer to our doubts, and I clearly remember the feeling how that was so encouraging and so removing these demons, or I see them as big boulders in our way on our way to Krishna. The relief that it gives to us to get the answer of the spiritual master in this way. And Prabhupada did that in many different ways, by sometimes just by a one sentence, very witty and fast reply to our doubts. Like, for example, one devotee was saying, oh, I don't feel like bowing down. Prabhupada requested the devotees, this is how the Vaishnava tradition is. And so he said, oh, I don't feel like bowing down, because in the Western countries, in the beginning of the movement, there was something not ever considered to bow down before anyone that is not God himself, or even God himself, maybe not. And so he was saying, so bow down anyway, because then the feeling will come. By service, the feeling will come. So that was one of an example of a witty, fast reply. And, or he would, of course, in his books, or by in our conversations with him. He would clear the doubts by philosophical clarification, and at other times he would give some very nice analogies or even stories that he told in order to clear doubts in us. So I've previously talked about some things, doubts that I had myself, and I don't want to repeat that, but this time I'm appreciating someone else saying something about Srila Prabhupada in this regard. So, as we know, we all pray to Srila Prabhupada, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Tarini. And Nalini Kanta also spoke about this impersonalism, because it is such a deep-rooted thing. And in the beginning of the movement, there was no one had ever spoken like Prabhupada about the personal feature of God, at least not in the Western countries. So it was, each time Prabhupada was saying something, it was like a big revelation to us. Maybe some Indian devotees here, they feel, oh, this is very ordinary, but to us it was always a big revelation. So he said the name of Krishna is not a Hindu name. And he said this Dharma is not sectarian. Just to clarify our doubts, what do we have to do with this here, you know? And Krishna means the all-attractive. He's not an old man. So that sounded very good too to us. We were all young, so attractiveness mattered a lot to us. And we would naturally want to serve that attractive person, the most attractive person. So, and he said we are part and parcels of God, and we share God's qualities, just as a spark has the quality of the big fire itself. So in the same way, this is the analogy, but God is, the difference is that God is infinite and we are infinitesimal. But we are, in one way, we have also another similarity. God is a person and we are persons also eternally. In Hindu philosophy, God is described as a blue-skinned cowherd boy with a flute and a peacock feather. And I guess most Western philosophers, they would call this as something imaginary. So in the beginning, of course, we were influenced by all these things and thought those things maybe. And so we had, in order to serve Srila Prabhupada, for example, in book distribution, you know, I remember when we started to distribute the Krishna book, you know, it took some courage in the beginning to distribute. But when Prabhupada gave so many arguments, then we became more convinced, not only convinced, we wanted others to be also getting the benefit. So Prabhupada was in that way our hero, and we would try to say the same thing, and lo and behold, some mystical things happened, that people's hearts were changing, and we knew that is not us saying something, it came from Prabhupada, because we were repeating what Prabhupada was saying. So some devotees read in Hindu mythology literatures that Vishnu was with his 4 hands is the original. First he is the light, and whenever he descends to this world, he takes on a form like Shiva, Durga, Ganesh, and also Krishna. So some of our devotees, like Hayagriva, for example, he had, I heard in his room, wall-to-wall books, and he read also some impersonalist literatures. And he had been in India and come back, but no big changes had taken place. And then all of a sudden, he saw in New York this Swamiji walking on the other side of the street, and he went to see him. And then his life changed because of Prabhupada giving so many wonderful arguments. So in essence, this philosophy is in this philosophy, Krishna is just a metaphorical device, which I think it is in the Bhagavad-Gita also in the introduction that Prabhupada is saying that metaphorical device meant to help a new yogi envision their inner self. But Swamiji did not describe Krishna as a myth, but an actual source, the actual source of creation, God in substantial form, the original supreme being. In the beginning in New York, he had not written his Bhagavad-Gita, so he used the Savepali Radha Krishnan edition just for the translation, the verse translation. And but he did not, of course, he did not endorse the commentary. But he read several times. He read something just to prove something to the devotees. So he said one day, "Now I will prove to you that this Radha Krishna is an impersonalist." He had one of the regular attendants of the class look at the particular verse that he was wanting to speak about, and that person, that Radha Krishnan's translation was, "On me fix thy mind, to me be devoted, worship me, revere me, and thus having disciplined thyself with me as the goal, to me shall thou come." Does anyone recognize which verse that is? Which one? 9:34. Any of the younger devotees? Engage your mind. Oh. Devotees. Parkdo Matyajinam. Yeah. That is the verse, and I mean, what a difference. Engage your mind, always thinking of me, become my devotee, very clearly, become my devotee, offer obeisance to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. You know, so it's very clear. There's a person, and you, each one of us, is promised this year. If you surrender to Krishna, then, so there's a completely different feeling. The other thing, you can't even understand what he's saying. Then Swamiji had the student read the commentary, and it said, "It is not to the personal Krishna to whom we have to give ourselves utterly, but to the unborn, beginningless, eternal, who speaks through Krishna." Swamiji explained that impersonalists are called Mayavadis because they see the transcendental, eternal form of Krishna as Maya. So he explained that to the devotees, and gradually their doubts were removed. Before they had not met the Swamis, they were okay with Radha Krishnan's interpretation. Form was obviously perishable, so it was an illusion. Spirit, as the opposite of matter, would have to be imperishable and formless, logically. Indestructible, it is as an indestructible energy that permeates every living entity and everything. So they were okay with that, but then after they heard the Swami, things changed. The Swami said, no, there is form and individual spiritual identity. If by definition spirit was indestructible, then it could not be it could not be cut or divided into pieces. If it is indestructible, how can it be cut and divided into pieces or separated? So if we are individuals now, so their philosophy is we are part of Brahman, and then you come here and you're an illusion, and then one day you go back. So if spirit is indestructible, first of all, how can you be cut away or taken away from that Brahman in the first place? We must be, so if we are individuals now, we must be also eternally. Not that we were cut off from Brahman, from the Brahmin Hole in the past, and in the future we will be magically joined. This would contradict the indestructible nature of the soul. So I just wanted to say, Srila Prabhupada was our hero, in whatever he taught us. And not only that we benefited from it, but when we applied this here and shared it with others, they would benefit from it. And we were observing the oneness like that on Sankirtan, or anyone, even a mother going, having one-to-one relationships with the teacher of her child, or wherever that preaching is going on, we have that experience of Prabhupada being our hero, and we trying to repeat what he has said. Hare Krishna.
Legacy. And what was that legacy? It was in his books that he wrote and that he oversaw and that he inspired others to read, take up the principles expounded in those books, and disseminate those literatures throughout the world. So, Matchless Gifts. That was the original storefront in New York, Matchless Gifts. So what does Matchless Gifts really mean? It means, just like Srila Prabhupada's appearance day, or a colloquial, his birthday. So traditionally in India, on a person's birthday, they give gifts. They're gift givers. So not that they expect gifts, but they give gifts. So Srila Prabhupada's gift to the world was summed up by Das Goswami. And at first, it comes under the category of the holy name, the name of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada brought us the divine name of Krishna. And as we have seen or heard, devotees like Gunagraj Maharaj, who is on his final days here in this manifest Leela, he's taken shelter of the name, not only throughout his devotional life, which was inspired by Srila Prabhupada, but up to the very end. I think Bibi Govinda said that Prabhupada's last word when he was departing was Hare Krishna. So it was like the beginning, the middle, and the end, the name. But what name was it? Because you can have a recording of the name Krishna. You hear so many people chanting Hare Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada, what he brought, that name descended from Golok. It wasn't an ordinary manifestation of the name. So that name reverberated within the consciousness of those who heard it. And it affected a change, a diametrically opposite change to that which the jiva had been experiencing in this material world. Because anandam buddhi vardhanam, we're all looking for pleasure, for happiness. That's an innate quality of the soul. So what Srila Prabhupada brought was that which would awaken us to that innate quality of happiness, ananda. And that ananda is to be given out, not only to be taken and experienced, but Srila Prabhupada is just like a rasgulla. If you have something very nice or some nice edible, kachoris in Srila Prabhupada's instance, he wanted to share it. He derived pleasure by giving it out, allowing others to experience that. So just like as Gopal said, Prabhupada's inspiration was to inspire others and get others to commit to give it out, to disseminate it, to increase. Prabhupada said if only 5% of the world's population takes to Krishna consciousness, it will effect a change that will affect the lives of everyone on this planet. Only 5%, right? That 5% can easily be attained just in India alone, right? Because when they asked Prabhupada about opening temples, or for Indian people, he said, they already know about Krishna, right? We want to disseminate this, but we have to refine what they don't or are confused by. So the next topic, next level is Diksha. From Nam we come to Diksha. What is this Diksha? What is the mantram that is given at the time of Diksha? The opposition parties here in Vrindavan and many other places, maybe Navadvip, Mayapur, or Radhakund especially, they say we have no connection with divinity. That is their claim. We don't have a mantram, right? But Das Goswami differs to agree. Because what is the mantram? Where does the mantram come from? One time there was a debate that took place between one of Saraswati Thakur's disciples, a very close and intimate disciple. And he was saying that Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he changed the books. He adjusted things within the Shastra. And the person who was debating with him said, what Saraswati Thakur, he was where does the Shastra come from, first of all? It comes from the Rishis, from the Sadhus, Vyasadeva, Sukadeva. Right? So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Saraswati Thakur, they are the modern day Rishis. So what has come from them, that is what Srila Prabhupada is giving to us. Right? It's a lineage. It's a disciplic succession. It's a disciplic succession of Shiksha Gurus. Shiksha Guru Parampara. And Srila Prabhupada, therefore, in this society, is the Shiksha Guru of everyone through his literatures. That's why these books carry so much value and importance, not to be minimized, not to be discarded, not to be adulterated in any way, shape, or form. As it is, Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad-Gita as it is. It's a very interesting point also Pradyumna was making in relationship to the Bhagavad-Gita, because one time Srila Prabhupada said to him, he had a desire to translate or write other Bhagavad-Gitas. And Pradyumna said, well, you already have a Bhagavad-Gita, Srila Prabhupada. He said, no, Krishna's words are unlimited. The other acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we can also get inspiration and write things from them. So the dynamics of divinity, and Srila Prabhupada, when he said certain things in relationship to his own books, he said, Krishna is sitting down beside me, and I am simply following his dictation. This is not the job of any Tom, Dick, and Harry. Anybody can't take the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or Caitanya Charitamrita and make a commentary on it. This has to come from a Mahabhagavat personality. Someone who is deputed by the Mahabhagavat to do such a service. Saraswati Thakur deputed Srila Prabhupada, empowered Srila Prabhupada to do this service. So that should not be minimized in any way, shape, or form. The next aspect is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. After Diksha, Srila Prabhupada introduced us to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tushe Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is distributing what no other incarnation, Krishna did not even distribute it. Lord Chaitanya distributed it. He gave it out, and through his agents of Nityananda, who chased down the conditioned souls and went door to door and held on to their feet and was saying, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Labha Gauranga Nam. Just take the name of my Gauranga. Gauranga! 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 In Kali Yuga, the name of Gauranga carries more potency than even the name of Krishna. Why? No offense, no aparad. Right? Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So from Mahaprabhu comes Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar, who is none different than Lalita, the personal assistant and secretary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then comes Rupa Goswami, Sri Rupa. Rupa Goswami is he is the Acharya. We are all known as Rupa Nugas. Srila Prabhupada, where was he for 11 years? In Radha Damodar temple, meditating on whom? Sri Rupa. Rupa Goswami. He prayed for the blessings of Rupa Goswami. Right? So Rupa Goswami, he is giving the melodies, the mellows of the intricate mellows of Bhakti Ras. And one of the first books that Srila Prabhupada translated was Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, to explain the intricacies of Bhakti Ras. Right? And Ujjwala Nilamani, which is a later publication by Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur forbade his disciples to read it. Puja Ragata Vagourava Bhange. He said, don't try to enter into the high aspects of devotional service. When you serve the spiritual master faithfully, when we serve Srila Prabhupada faithfully, they will come and introduce us to these things. They will bring us up. Right? Passport is given to everybody who has received Harinam, but visa, that is something different. Visa is given to those who acquire a particular attitude or service that is necessary into the place that we are going. In other words, if you want to go to America now, you have to have the qualifications to get into the country. In other words, they might not let anybody and everybody into the country now. They're restricting the entrance because they have to see, are you going to be helpful to our community? And then after Rupa Goswami, they're introducing, Prabhupada introduced us to Vrindavan Dham, Mathura Mandal, Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan Dham, the acquaintance with Vrindavan Dham, meaning the land, the trees, the forests, the water, the sun, the air, the moon, everything in Vrindavan is inspiring us to what? To the service of Krishna, Radha and Krishna. It is not that Vrindavan Dham is some mundane place. Even Srila Prabhupada said about Radha Sham here, he said, every other deity of Radha and Krishna in the West, they are all Lakshmi Narayan. Only here is Radha Sham, Radha Krishna. Prabhupada said that. Right? So not to underestimate the place of Vrindavan. Right? And how did Prabhupada acquaint us with Vrindavan? Krishna book. You read Krishna book, the pastimes of Lord Krishna, in Krishna book, and we become familiar with the personalities in Vrindavan. Nanda, Yasoda, Radharani, the gopis, the cowherd boys. All the activities that take place in Vrindavan, they're there in Krishna book. It is a gateway to the spiritual world. Right? So this is the wealth, the gift, the matchless gift that Srila Prabhupada has given to all of us. So we should take that gift. It's like if one receives a very valuable item, a very valuable jewel, or something of very intrinsic value, you hold on to it. You don't let it go. You sacrifice everything to hold on to that. So the conception of divinity that has come through Srila Prabhupada to us, never let it go. Don't think, Brahmanda Brahmati Konya Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Don't think that it is so rare to get that. It is very rare. We are very fortunate, all of us, to have these matchless gifts that Srila Prabhupada has given to us and inspiring those sincere devotees to go out and distribute. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Our next speaker needs no introduction. He's our resident Brihvasi. When people around the world think of Vrindavan, automatically they think of Dinabandhu.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatiti Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today is the most special day. Is the 9th day of the dark half of the month of Bhadra, just following the Astami where we celebrated the appearance of Lord Krishna. This is also generally known as Nandotsav. For us it's known as Vyasa Puja. And we're very fortunate, we're sitting in that land of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Where we're hearing how Radha and Krishna's pastimes are going on in this holy land. And in that holy land of Sri Vrindavan, we're in the Raman Reti area, where Krishna and Balaram were sporting. Reti means sands, Raman means relishable sands. Where there was an abandoned plot, and a devotee's glance fell upon that plot, and he thought, let there be a temple and devotional service to the Lord. And this beautiful Krishna Balaram Mandir appeared. In fact, one of my favorite memories of Srila Prabhupada is I was here in 1975 on Ram Navami Day when this temple was inaugurated. I'm reminded that day every time when I'm doing my japa walk around the temple. The picture is there. Prabhupada was so joyfully doing the artik. This was a huge conquest for Sri. This was, whenever you opened a temple, that was like conquering empire. This was conquering more than an empire. This was conquering the spiritual world. And Prabhupada was doing the artik, and he would turn around and there would be this smile of full satisfaction. And every time he turned around with the next article, first the incense, then the ghee lamp, that smile became even fuller and fuller, till you finally see right outside the gate here, Prabhupada offering the peacock fan to the assembled Vaishnavas, and full satisfaction on that face. This is one of my favorite memories of Srila Prabhupada. I was here, in fact, I was in the middle of this darshan mandap, and as soon as the conch blow and the curtains opened, everybody rushed forward, and I was taken completely off of my feet. And I wasn't at all used to that type of thing, and I'm from America. In America, you read about in, underdeveloped countries how there's stampedes and, rushes and things like this. I thought I'm going to be crushed to death. So somehow or other, those times you get some sort of energy. I managed, like a football player, to break through, go out to the outside courtyard, and was watching this scene of Srila Prabhupada turning around with this ever-increasing smile of full satisfaction. And here in the darshan mandap of this Krishna Balaram Mandir, we're sitting with so many wonderful disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Usually I'm not here. Usually I'm the only disciple of Prabhupada in the assembly. Many places I travel. But here we're sitting with a whole galaxy of stars. Just like recently we were just in New York, we went to Tompkins Square Park. And there was one young boy sitting there. And because we were dressed in dhoti and kurta, he immediately recognized us as devotees, must be ISKCON devotees. When he heard I was a disciple, he said, he was just a yogi. He said, yes, Prabhupada made so many stars to light up the world and sent them all over the place. He was sitting there by the Prabhupada tree. Now they've made a sign there. So here we're sitting with a whole galaxy of stars. It's so wonderful. I couldn't imagine going anywhere else, but just like Gopal said, Prabhupada said, go. So sometimes we have to go and spread the glories, but sometimes we want to relish being in the association of all of our wonderful God brothers. So we're sitting here today in this great constellation of stars, hearing the wonderful nectar of Srila Prabhupada. And this day, these 2 days, Janmashtami and Vyasa Puja, they're very special for me because it may be Krishna's birth, this is also my spiritual birth. Because I first ran into the devotees the day before Janmashtami. That's a long story, we won't go. But anyway, they were come to Boulder, Colorado to start a temple, and they had no place to stay, and some hippies had invited them to stay in their log cabin, real log cabin, not sawn wood, but real log cabin. And it was way outside of Boulder. And so they said, yeah, tomorrow's Krishna's birthday. I said, Krishna's birthday? Because I knew the chanting of Hare Krishna amongst the young people, somehow the Hare Krishna mantra had become very famous. In fact, I first heard it from Allen Ginsberg, because somebody, I think it was Nalini Kanta mentioned about Allen Ginsberg. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That was Allen Ginsberg's melody. So I first heard it on the album. We won't mention the name of that album. So I knew the chanting, and we used to chant. We would go on the streets with our guitars and funny clothes and chant and dance and do all kinds of crazy things. So when he said, it's tomorrow's Krishna's birthday, I was, Krishna's birthday? I knew the chanting, but I had no idea what Krishna was. I didn't even know what, it wasn't a what, it was a who. And he has a birthday. He said, yeah, we're going to fast till midnight and we'll have a 25-course vegetarian feast at midnight. Those days we didn't know you were supposed to break with the Palahar Prasad. So we had the full-on kachori, puri, sweet rice, gulab jamun, halva, everything at midnight. And I was a cook, so that sounded interesting. He said, yeah, we got space, you can come and stay. So I came and went out to the cabin. And first thing they gave me this little blue Macmillan Bhagavad-Gita, 400 pages. Now we have 1,100 pages. So 700 pages were edited out of this book. We only had 400 pages, but those 400 pages, just Prabhupada's introduction convinced me to become a devotee. Just the introduction, all the questions that I was that were bouncing around my head were just in Prabhupada's introduction. I immediately understood everything. And Bhavananda was the first devotee I met. He was preaching, he knew exactly where he was at. And he was preaching me, here in the mature world, everything gets dull. You know, you get, after you do so much acid, you get tired of it. You do so much marijuana, you get tired of it. Everything you get tired of. But Krishna consciousness is ever increasing. In the spiritual world, it's ever increasing. And he would go, touch is always heightening. And I would go, he knew exactly where the sound is always heightening, you know. And after I took my first gulab jamun, yeah, I'm there. And somebody mentioned about why Prabhupada was smashing so much the Mayavadi philosophy, because it was already insidiously, it entered, because I was there with my friend, Sunshine. It had nothing to do with the sun, by the way. Later he became Srivas. Somebody was mentioning how Gunagrahi was preaching in South America. Sunshine was, Srivas was one of the first devotees to go to South America as a translator for Hanuman Maharaj. So we, Sunshine and I, we would, take all kinds of intoxicants and speculate at the speed of mind and always come to the conclusion that it's beyond words. And then we look at each other frustrated. Why did you say that? There's nothing to be said. We were completely immersed in this impersonalism. And just the whole idea of God being a person, it made so much sense. It's not that we had rejected it, but nobody had ever presented it. Srila Prabhupada presented it. God is a person. And it made so much sense. That we're part of Krishna, we serve Krishna, we become happy. I immediately understood it. On these 2 days, I became a devotee. I don't know the coming to the temple and getting convinced, but I got convinced right on the spot. I just, especially after that Gulab Jamun, I was convinced. So Srila Prabhupada smashed this impersonal idea. And just like Krishna Rupa was saying, Prabhupada took some guy took some string, a wire, and a gourd, and a stick. He made a beautiful musical instrument. Same thing, Srila Prabhupada, we were just completely rejected people. We had rejected society, we had rejected everything. We had become the people that our parents warned us not to become. We were totally useless people, but Prabhupada took us together. He was like, just like there's a verse in that section of Bhagavatam about Sati, where Daksha just completely insults her husband. And she says, my husband, you're such a person. In a great ocean of good qualities, you find out one bad thing and you make it big. But my husband, Lord Shiva, even if there's an ocean of bad qualities, he finds out one good thing and makes that big. That verse describes Srila Prabhupada. We were an ocean of bad qualities. We were completely rejected from society. We had rejected society. We were running 180 as soon as I read Bhagavad-Gita, I realized I was going 180 degrees in the wrong direction. I thought getting drugs and free love and everything, that was advancement in spiritual life. I realized I was going 180 degrees the wrong way. So Prabhupada took people like this, and he saw, but what was our underlying thing? We wanted to know what life was all about. We were trying, and we rejected one type of sense gratification, but we went for even worse type of sense gratification. But our goal was, we want to know what life is all about. That's what I was searching. My Sunshine and I, we would speculate at the speed of mind, just trying to understand what's it all about. So Prabhupada taught that tiny little spark in our hearts and fanned it and made it a blazing fire. And he took all these useless people, he put them together, and he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Srila Prabhupada ki! Just like Nalini Kanta said in the beginning, that Prabhupada is the greatest person who ever walked the face of the earth. And that's not just because we're disciples saying that, even mundane scholars are accepting. They say Christ and Mohammed, they were preaching in their own community, amongst their own people. Even Shankaracharya, and Buddha, they had kings. Maharaj Ashoka was funding him South Indian kings were funding Shankaracharya. Prabhupada went to the West. Prabhupada even said, I just had a bunch of monkeys. I had just a bunch of monkeys to help me. And Prabhupada spread the most sublime philosophy of the universe all over. Nobody's done that. Everybody else in their own community, or they had some backing or something. Prabhupada with nothing. 40 rupees, that's 2 minutes kharch, 2 minutes spending money in America. Even those days it was nothing. And he spread the most sublime philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. So even scholars are recognizing that Prabhupada was so great. It's not that just because we're disciples we're saying that. So on this very, very special day, Vyasa Puja, we pray for all of you, just like Devi Shakti wonderfully said, just like we see it practically even in Brindakund. Sometimes like last year there was no rain, so the turtles, they go into the mud and they stay there until it rains again. So somehow or other, by Srila Prabhupada, I don't know what special mercy I got. I have the mud of the Braj mud to stay in, and the service of the followers of Srila Prabhupada. I wrote one poem one year on Vyasa Puja. The Lord we do not know, we are so very low. The Vaishnav we have heard, he is who to be served. But to such as one as you, how can we give what's due? We only hope and pray that when your followers come to your home Vrindavan Dham, by service of their feet, your mercy we will meet. Srila Prabhupada ki! Oh yeah, I was so excited. So Bhuvaneshwar, he's in the kitchen, so he gave me a little offering here. I almost forgot. In my ecstasy, he's remembering the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. No, it's big writing. 70 + 10 has passed in this life. A life passed in Krishna consciousness is a positive alternative to wasted life in the misguided cat and dog civilization. Struggle for existence is always there in both material and spiritual pursuits, but it is not the same. Material life brings anxiety and moroseness. Spiritual life brings just the opposite. What can be more wonderful? We sing every day, Ebi Jasa Gusut Tribhuvan. Yadavar's recent movie was a moving experience for one and all. Now people all over the world can appreciate your name and fame, spreading Lord Chaitanya's mission to every town and village. May Krishna consciousness flourish for the next 10,000 years. This is your credit. And at advanced age of 70, you left Vrindavan to show compassion to all humanity. May we continue to serve in your mission here in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram Mandir, till our very last breath. Let us all obtain life's goal, Krishna Prem. Your humble servant, Bhuvaneshwar Das, Jai Radhe Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai.
Bhuvaneshwar Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada had thousands of devotees. Among the devotees, different relationships were formed. All of us have favorite devotees. One of my all-time top 10 favorite devotees, Narayani Maharaj.
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatadeshta. Dear Srila Prabhupada, we deeply pray, please show us the way, to with you always stay. And lest we stray, we sincerely pray, Sharanam Prapadye. Let us follow your way. Of Krishna's son you're a ray, and with Krishna you play. So today we pray on your path to stay. Though difficult the way, pick us up if we stray. If attention does splay, let your purports be our way, our intention to pay. Let us always say, we will follow your way till we again meet one day. On this day, I eagerly pray to serve you in every way. As the sun relieves darkness of night, so you relieve ignorance, giving spiritual sight. You show us what to do right. Take our hand and lead us to light. We follow your orders due to your might, holding on to your lotus feet tight. Please never go out of our sight till we meet again in Goloka's light. Although this life will someday end, we pray to you, Krishna's mercy you'll send. So every moment we will spend with mind on Krishna, and your service never end. Please give us a sign of compassion divine, of love's design, mercy of thine. Please let us shine in love divine, your instructions divine, our mercy's sign. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for always making me beautiful Radha Krishna to always see. My desire is to always be at your lotus feet, a honeybee. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. Now we have a devotee who was born in a Brahmin family in South India. Very wonderful devotee, President. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Before I say a few words, I'm actually reading on behalf of Parvati Mataji. Unfortunately, she couldn't come this morning, otherwise she would have been here and read this, what I'm reading. I hope I can read the way she intended. Namo Mishtavadaya Krishnavastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharati Nirvasesha Shunyavadi Pastadesha Tatar. You left India at an age when most people retire and came to bring what we have forgotten. It was certainly an enormous challenge to bring us up to the level of human being and then consign us to the inexhaustible road of the nectar of devotion. Because of economics and the culture, this would have seemed to be an impossible dream. Nevertheless, your dreams just got bigger and bigger till you accomplished the goal. Even if I make one pure devotee, my mission will have been successful. At the time of those beginnings, there was a famous American preacher, was famous for a speech, then began with, "I have a dream." Your dream completed more than he could even imagine. Your dreams were not dreams. Your connection with your spiritual master and Krishna reached far beyond. How can we even dream reaching an inch of that? You said, "My only qualification is that I have not changed anything, neither added nor subtracted." We have tried very hard to avoid changing things. I don't know how closely we followed. It is just so tempting to justify this and that by, well, it is for Krishna, so it must be good. By the creation of our association in the temples, you have arranged for us to pull back on track, often getting pulled back on track, and I'm willing to pull back. But your association is a strong pull. We have therefore the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and his associates in every size and variety. Your ISKCON sandwich of Mangal Arati, Tulsi Puja, 16 rounds of japa, Srimad Bhagavatam class, Bhagavad-Gita classes, evening arti, Guru Puja, an amazing diversity of service in between, real welfare work. And there are VIHE intensive study groups and offshoots which have caught on everyone to produce Bhakti Shastris, Bhakti Vibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, not as fast as you proposed, finally took momentum. There is a book distribution, dramas, light shows, Sunday love feast, deity worship, grand festivals which we can take to the streets, Harinam, Gurukul farm community, preaching center of all kinds, temple, Kartika, life membership. There's no end to the opportunity to purify others and be purified by the process you gave us. Most of all us in Vrindavan, there's your home and your sacred resting place, your samadhi, where you made yourself so exclusive, accessible. How can we thank enough for this association? It is impossible, but each and every one of us pray that we die trying. You have given us the goal of life. We found the connection and we did not even know what we are connected. Your presence is unfathomable here, and we cannot recognize the availability wherever your books are read and distributed, and we offer a measure service to diligently and as we are capable. I pray that I take full advantage of what you have given us and die trying. Your servant, Parvati Devi Dasi. Well, since I'm sitting here, I hope I say a few words. I won't take much of a time. This occasion, I'd like to take you all back 43 years ago. After we opened the temple, Prabhupada came back for Janmashtami. And it was a wonderful occasion. Of course, my memory is fading away. I don't remember it was too many people. And I was 19 years old and young and energetic and full of things, want to do things. Anyway, my service at that time was making life members. We came back from preaching and I was decorating all this temple. That time we didn't have any money, so no money to buy flowers. So we were just hanging all the cloth banners like flags. So I still remember going up all these pillars, climbing up like a monkey and hanging all the flags. And the next day, that was for Janmashtami, of course, and Prabhupada came for Vyasa Puja, sitting in the Vyasasan, and I still remember the first thing he was quoted, Sri Vigrahara Dhananityanana Singara Tiramara. He said, the duty of a disciple is to decorate the temple and worship the deity and his spiritual master. So I was so egomaniac at the time, thinking, oh, Prabhupada is talking about me. As Dev Shakti was mentioning, actually Prabhupada was talking very personal. In every verse, everything he said in the book, it's all about the devotees he was remembering. So it is always very personal. So after the Vyasa Puja and Kirtan, Prabhupada went back to his quarters and he invited few local devotees for prasad. And I still remember it was in Prabhupada's living quarters, and people were taking prasad in the leaflets, making a whole bunch of mess. And I say, what is happening here? And after prasad, people would give 1 rupee, 5 rupees, 10 rupees on Prabhupada's table. And Prabhupada was so cute, I can still remember. He took all the money, he counted every rupees and put in his bead bag and walked back to his room. So it was very fond of great memories of Srila Prabhupada after so many years. When I first came, I was not one of those seeking for Guru. I was not very fortunate to praying or looking for a spiritual master. By some fortune, I don't know what is that, Srila Prabhupada came to me. I did not go after him. Prabhupada, so kind, so merciful, even if I wasn't asking, he gave me these beautiful blessings of understanding how to go home, how to go back to Godhead. Prabhupada is very, very kind to so many of the devotees. Many rishis, sages, prays thousands and thousands of years in one leg, pray for a spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada. We are all so fortunate. We didn't have to do anything. Prabhupada came to us. On this wonderful occasion, I thank Srila Prabhupada and pray his lotus feet to give me his blessings. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mandir, brother. Prasanama. Now, we have for grace, Mahadevi, the renowned traveler. Hare Krishna.
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pacharane Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paskachari Shatarane. So in the 60s, we were on a mission to make love, not war, and the loving attitude was what was being expressed in our music, in our revolution against the government. And we were prepared at that time, even as activists against the Vietnam War, we were prepared to go to jail when we would do our protests on the college campuses. But little did I know that I was being prepared to later go to jail for book distribution, Srila Prabhupada's book distribution, on the streets of America. And we were introduced to another mission, a higher mission. Prabhupada said that this activism against the government, this will only satisfy a few problems that we have, disturbances. But if you join Lord Chaitanya's mission, then this will satisfy everyone all at the same time. So we were very attracted to this word mission. I was immediately attracted to Srila Prabhupada giving us something that we could share with everyone. So our new mission became preaching is the essence, utility is the principle, books are the basis, and purity is the force, right. So preaching is the essence. When I first joined the movement, I had been in a rock and roll band, and we used to travel around in a VW bus. So when I first joined the movement, they sent me to a parking lot. 2 weeks later, I was traveling around in a van with 6 other ladies all over the country, and we would sleep like this, 6 across the van in a sleeping bag, and we would go all over the country and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. And Srila Prabhupada's books became our life and our soul. We felt like when we gave a book to someone, we were actually giving them Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's mercy, Srila Prabhupada's process, Srila Prabhupada's solution for all the problems of the world. So preaching is the essence. Whenever we would give a book, we would talk with someone for a little while, we would give them a book, and we knew that that book would do all the preaching that we might think we could do with that one soul. But that person having the book in their home, we would derive great satisfaction and understanding that we were sharing what Prabhupada had given to the world. Utility is the principle. Although we were very, and still I am, very fallen, somehow or another Prabhupada utilizes our enthusiasm, and we have some faith, and we have some dedication to this mission. And still today, we try to utilize what Prabhupada has given us and try to share that with others. We just came back from Jagannath Puri. We spent the Purushottam Mas and the Ratha Yatra there. And I always get books from Daivi Shakti or Saranga, and we distributed 40 small books. And it's amazing how many people are still wanting to know who is a Hare Krishna. So because I didn't have to have a quota or I wasn't in a hurry, I could take time with different people. And just like Prabhupada said, everyone is looking for Krishna. And there's so many people still seeking. They want to know who is God, and especially today, because there's such a suffering condition out in the world today. And this suffering is instigating an interest in God consciousness. So wherever you go, try to bring a small book with you, a couple of small books, and then you just never know who you're going to meet, and then you can give them a small book. And in that way, we share what Prabhupada has given us. We were also able to do 3 or 4 TV shows in Jagannath Puri, and we were able to edit together a video of the Ratha Yatras in America, Europe, Tokyo was one of them, Russia, all over the world. And the Puri Vasis and even the Pandas, who didn't used to like us very much, but by Prabhupada's mercy, they're now starting to like the Hare Krishnas. They were amazed to see, oh, these Ratha Yatra carts, the foreigners weren't just making up something or doing something whimsical, they're actually being made in the likeness of the Puri Ratha Yatra carts. And so I was able to explain a little bit that yes, Srila Prabhupada, he was very adamant that the carts in Jagannath, they would be made in the likeness of Jagannath here in Puri. So in that way we can spread Prabhupada's glories and so many things that he did, especially establishing Ratha Yatra all over the world. We see just recently there was a Ratha Yatra in Los Angeles, and now even some of the city governments, I believe San Francisco, they give a day off for people to come, and they don't know what they're chanting, Jai Jagannath, Jai Balabhadra, Jai, but they are so happy. And Prabhupada, of course, knew this, that Jagannath's mercy would make people happy. And of course, then at the end of all the Ratha Yatras, there's the distribution of prasadam and the question and answer booth, and so many opportunities to get to know devotees. Preaching is the essence, utility is a principle, books are the basis, purity is the force. we may not be so pure in our desires, in our motivation, but by simply following this process, I believe that we're becoming purified. Just like the diamond in the rough, you know, it has to be polished for a long, long time. So we're in that process. We're in the shower. We're in the polishing process. And if we stick to this process, we stick to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, and we try to serve each one of us as a representative of Srila Prabhupada, as a representative of Krishna. And then we start to see, like Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So in the same way, if we're trying to see Srila Prabhupada's mercy in everyone, in everything, and every day we get up and we think, oh, what can I do for Prabhupada today? Maybe I can just smile at somebody or say Hari Bol or how are you doing today? And in that way, we try to share Prabhupada's kindness, because every day Prabhupada is giving us so much. From the moment we wake up until we take rest, Prabhupada is giving us so much, actually our life breaths. And in trying to use those breaths, those few that we have left, in trying to share Prabhupada's kindness and his mission formula. Preaching is the essence, utility is the principle, books are the basis, and purity is the force. By trying to push on this mission, then we ourselves, maybe we can get a little purified and keep crying out to Srila Prabhupada for his mercy, that we can just stay on this path until our last breath. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for bringing me to ISKCON Vrindavan and for giving me the opportunity to serve all these amazing Vaishnavas. Thank you.
Praise the Lord, David. Thank you for a very nice offering. Next, we're going to have who I think is the most senior Srila Prabhupada disciple in Vrindavan at the present time, His Grace Vishal Prabhu. After Vishal Prabhu, I'd like to call upon Rohini Sutta Prabhu. Then His Grace Keshidamana Prabhu. Then Maharaj, Prabodhananda Saraswati Maharaj. And then Daddy Bhaksha Prabhu. So I shall name the names in that order after Vishal Prabhu speaks.
His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja Ki! Hare Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself. Aham Brahmasmi, I'm not this body. Jivara Srupa Hoya Krishna Nityadas. I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Agana Tamrindasya Gnagna Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guravi Namaha. So it's very difficult to properly and in the right way glorify such an exalted person who's giving us the shreyas, right? The ultimate goal, to go natevidu swarta gatim hi vishnum, to go back home, back to Godhead. That's the highest gift, nothing higher than that, to get the H out of here. This is not a fit place for a lady or a gentleman, Prabhupada said, this material world. So Prabhupada is giving us the highest gift, the benediction, blessing, to go back home, back to Godhead. I joined in San Francisco, California, around 1968, and it was during the hippie scene. And
two things came to my mind, which I spoke to Srila Prabhupada. When I first met Srila Prabhupada in 1968, I said, Srila Prabhupada, I read your Bhagavad-Gita and it blew my mind. That was the hippie terminology. Prabhupada says, I am changing hippies into happies. Prabhupada didn't like hippies. They're most degraded people. They break the 4 regulated principles, right? Meat, fish, eggs, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication. So they're most degraded. And he wanted us to be clean-shaven, not to have hippie hairs. He called those, mustache, goatee, long hair. He wanted us to be clean. Our dancing, he called them my dancing white elephants, right? So after saying that, I said, Srila Prabhupada, I was 30 years old when I joined the movement. Most of the devotees, actually, they're actual devotees. I'm pretending to be. And they were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. I was 30. And I said to Srila Prabhupada, I'm starting kind of late, my spiritual life. And Prabhupada said, better late than never. So encouragement from the very beginning, right? So I can remember a pastime, fortunately, with Prabhupada. Prabhupada was talking in, I think it was Los Angeles, New Dwarkadam. And he was saying, Lord Mahavishnu is creating unlimited universes throughout the universe. And millions and trillions of universes. And they come out small and they evolve large. And he said then Mahavishnu enters into another form called Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, which Brahmaji, Lord Brahma, is created from the abdominal stem, lotus stem of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So Brahma is the creator, secondary creator. We know the first creator is Krishna. He's Sarva Karanakarnam. Prabhupada said that's perfect knowledge to understand Krishna is the cause of all causes. So then he said, if you read the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, you become fully Krishna conscious. And I said, well, Srila Prabhupada, I read the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm not fully Krishna conscious. What did you mean by that? And Prabhupada said, what do you think I meant? And I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. So Prabhupada says to be fully Krishna conscious means when you fully realize that Krishna is the supreme controller, supreme enjoyer, and everyone else is his eternal servant. And you no longer try to imitate Krishna by being the supreme enjoyer. So that false enjoying spirit we have to get rid of. We have to understand that we're meant to please Krishna. In the Bhagavatam, we hear the example many times. If you water the root of the tree, the branches, twigs, and leaves are nurtured. And if you offer food through the mouth to the stomach, then all the parts of the body are energized. So Krishna is the source of everything, as it states in 10:8 Bhagavad-Gita, like that, Ham Sarvasya Prabhava. So I can tell you a chastisement, the worst one I ever got. Do you want to hear that one? Because fortunately, I had a lot of pastimes with Prabhupada, and everyone else should have a chance. Okay? What was I saying? Oh yeah, it was. We were Prabhupada asked me to go to Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, Nairobi and Mombasa. So after we came back, we were in the Bombay airport, and Prabhupada didn't have his proper papers. I think Prabhupada once said, don't get the wrong impression, I don't trust my managers. You remember that? He said, so, okay, so he's humbly, the temple president is very humbly taking that. So anyway, everyone was trying to get Prabhupada out of the airport. They were running here and there, the devotees in Bombay. It was in the Bombay airport. They were waiting to take Prabhupada to the Bombay temple. And we were with Prabhupada, Shamasundar, I think Naranarayan was there, Arvinda, and everyone was running and very frantic and very much alarmed and scared and in anxiety. And I was sitting next to Srila Prabhupada as you're sitting almost next to Keshi Damana Prabhu. And I didn't know what to say. Everyone was running, and I just stood there like a bump on the log, as they say in the Western vernacular, like a fool. I was just sitting, and I looked at Prabhupada, and I said to Srila Prabhupada, is there anything I can do? Like a baby. And Prabhupada said, you speak nonsense. What can you do? And I mean, I got many other chastisements, but that was the biggest one. I left the airport. They quarantined Srila Prabhupada. I was scared to death. But after he got out of the airport, everything was okay. Everything okay. Like that. So I think I'll stop now because one more? Okay. So this is not a chastisement. You want me to tell a chastisement? I can tell one because this came in my feeble mind. I see. So I was in Africa with Prabhupada, and he was getting out of the car. I didn't expect that. I didn't know what to say. I said to Prabhupada, I'll do anything to please you, Srila Prabhupada. I didn't know what, and Prabhupada said, I'm always pleased. Srila Prabhupada ki!
Thank you, Michelle Prabhu. I'd like to call on a very wonderful devotee who does extensive preaching in the Eastern Bloc countries. Is a famous book distributor in his time, Rohini Sukaprabhu.
Om Timaranyasya Kananchana Salakyam Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Mastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Sunyavadi, Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances to your lotus feet. Oh no, it's okay. Today, on this most auspicious day of your appearance in this world, I would like to show my gratitude to you. In the Srimad Bhagavatam states that this material world is a dark place. Gajendra prayed to the Lord, who is eternally situated above the material creation and annihilation, shining like the sun, Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. He therefore intelligently approached the Lord and took full shelter in Him. Through the Bhagavatam, you give us direction even today how to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Then there is no fear, lamentation, and illusion. You give us inspiration and involve and invoke and strengthen our faith in the process of Sankirtan. Because without your shining example and direction, we are in complete darkness. By following this hearing and chanting process given by you, we can deepen ourselves more and more in this wonderful process and are able to inspire others. It is by Lord Chaitanya's mercy that He connects the suffering mankind by sending His devotees who assist Him in spreading this Krishna consciousness movement. And you, Srila Prabhupada, are one of these great helpers who wants to relieve the Lord's anxiety, how to deliver them. We had full faith in His instructions of Pritavita Yachayati Nagaradi Gram Savata Prachare Hoipa Moranam. Due to your deep faith and conviction in Lord Chaitanya's mission, through the medium of your spiritual masters, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the Sankirtan movement is now spread all over the world and spreads more and more. You pointed out so emphatically in your Vrindavan Bhajan with the example of Arjuna, quote, all his ignorance dissipated as well as his material bondage was cut. And he spoke the perfection of mantras, Harishya Vachanam Tava, now I'm ready. Thus you revealed your fighting spirit in this mission of Lord Chaitanya. You are the great hero. You are our great hero who showed us with the sword of transcendental knowledge the direction to go. You were ready and convinced about the battle against the blinding illusion of material existence. And you expected from us to become convinced as you are. You implanted the seed of bhakti, beginning with enthusiasm and faith in our heart and consciousness. Only by your mercy we have received this unique service in the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. You are Paradukha Dukhi, who cannot tolerate the unhappiness and suffering of others. You are the savior of everyone who takes shelter at your instructions and with firm conviction follows your footsteps in the practice of this process. And sharing it with others. On this auspicious day, I pray for your merciful guidance despite of all my deficiencies. Please give me strength and conviction in this Krishna conscious process. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Rohini Sutra Prabhu. Now we'd like to call upon one of our resident pundits in Vrindavan, His Grace Keshi Damana Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His Grace, Keshi Damana Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So it's wonderful to hear Srila Prabhupada glorified and to see all the love and affection that the devotees have for Srila Prabhupada. But I was remembering one story. Prithu, our god brother, told me. After Srila Prabhupada departed, of course, his transcendental body was put in samadhi here, and a stick was put there. And a year later, I was actually used to do the arti there in the hot sun. So anyway, before the samadhi was built, of course. So Prithu told me that after Srila Prabhupada, there was confusion amongst the managers what to do. So Prithu told me he had a dream. And in the dream, Srila Prabhupada was standing next to the stick that was above Prabhupada's transcendental form. And he said to Prithu, he said, the problem is they think I've left. So the spiritual master, the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality, yesterday was the appearance day of Krishna. They live in the eternal ever-presence of the transcendental world. And the devotee, through his sadhana, through following the orders of the spiritual master, should come to that realization that the Supreme Lord, Gaur-Nitai, the spiritual master, all the great acharyas, they live in the eternal present. This past, present and future is illusory. Even we can understand that our life, even within this material body, is just a series of nows. So eternal time is the thread, one aspect of the thread that supports existence. So it is realization of the eternal world is the solution to all the problems of the material world. As Srila Prabhupada, you've always taught that true spirituality, as given by Sri Gaur-Nitai, is the solution to the world's problems. In a muddy pond, two creatures may grow. One is the frog, and the other is the lotus. So the frog, he croaks, and in croaking he only attracts the snake of time and death and becomes devoured. So now we're in a very dark period of Kali Yuga. Everywhere is confusion. The people are being misled. The people are being encouraged to turn against each other and fight on the basis of religion, on the basis of politics, on the basis of sex. Men and women are being pitted against each other, so on and so forth. So this is Kali Yuga. And these are the agents of Kali. They want to cause quarrel and hypocrisy throughout the world. So some people, well-meaning, they may come forward and give some material solution. But they are only dancing dogs in the hands of Maya. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya, Gaur-Nitai, they are like the lotus that is born in this muddy pond, Srila Prabhupada. And you have given us all the ways to become like that lotus. The lotus grows from the muddy pond, Srila Prabhupada, but opens and blossoms in the light of the sun and the moon. The lotus opens its heart to the sun and the moon and grows vibrantly. So it is very essential that we understand this. As Prabhupada explained in the Nectar of Devotion seminar in 1972 in Radha Damodar, that if just 5% of the world becomes Krishna conscious, if just 5% of the world become lotus devotees, with their heart open to the truth and beauty of Gaur-Nitai, who have arisen like the sun and moon on the eastern horizon of Gaudadesh. If 5%, then the rest of the world will see this perfection, and they can rise above the distress that is all over the world. So The desire of Srila Prabhupada is that the message of the Acharyas be spread all over the world to help all the suffering humans, the suffering environment, the suffering creatures of this world. So we have the greatest responsibility in this world to take this message to the world. We should not be like the croaking frogs. We must take the message given by Srila Prabhupada as our life and soul. Without the order of the spiritual master, there is no life. There is nothing in this world but suffering and illusion. And it is our duty to realize the ever-presence of the Supreme Lord and His Acharyas and the Panchatattva, to embody that and take it to the world. Because just like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vinod, all the great Acharyas, they have left many literatures full of description of the Supreme Lord. What is the nature of this world? How to come to the Transcendental platform. And this is our duty, to give this knowledge to the world. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you very much, Caitanya Prabhu. Now we have a wonderful devotee to speak, a devotee who is decorated with so many wonderful qualities of the Vaishnava. Daddy Vaishnava. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatiminiranthasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshutam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja celebration ki Jai. So first I like to thank you for this great, our dear most President Panchagauda Prabhuji, as my Shishya Guru here, Smarahari Prabhu, actually is my best friend. Actually, when I came from there, Nepal, I was standing 12:30 Arati here. He catch my hand, and Smarahari Prabhu, Girivardhari Prabhu, they took me to Akshayanand Maharaj's room. So I don't know go all the detail, but I like thanks very much for him, my Shishya Guru. Even now he's taking care of me very nicely when I have some tension. So he always catch my hand and folding. So I remember all the my well-wisher. His Smarahari Prabhu, His Grace Panchagauda Prabhu, he told This time you are in the 4th number. He told me, 4 number. Dharmatma Prabhu told me, Panchagora Prabhu said 4th number. I said, no, I don't want 4th number. I want to 10th number. Because there are many senior God brother, God sister sitting here. So how can I speak 4th number? I am junior. So I will speak 10th. Give me the last. So thus I get this opportunity from them by their mercy. So please bless me. So today is a very special day. Like Dinabandhu Prabhu told that today is Navami. Navami Tithi is the best day. Like Navami Tithi Madhumasa Samhita. So it's like Lord Ramchandra has appeared. This Tithi is called Ram Navami. Yesterday Krishna Janmashtami. Today is Ram Navami. Ram Navami Tithi, Bhagavan Ram Navami. So today is Prabhupada appeared Ram Navami day is called Prabhupada Ram Navami Tithi. We are celebrating here. Just like yesterday they celebrate throughout the Vrindavan, throughout the Brajamandal, everywhere, 12 o'clock at night, midnight, they say, Nand Ghare Anand Bhayo Jai Kanaya Lal Ki. So today whole world and ISKCON, they are celebrating. ISKCON Ghare Anand Bhayo Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this is ISKCON mission. First Krishna sent our Prabhupada. So the next day to him. So his birthday. So we are very fortunate here today celebrating Prabhupada Vyasa Puja. So now I want to, just because Brahmananda Prabhu always told me that I should chant Prabhupada Stotra here, because Mangalacharan. See, Mangalacharan means like, you know, this is very special. This is land of this Raman Reti glorification, Krishna Balaram glorification, is like Radha Shamsundar glorification, Gavanita glorification of Prabhupada. So this 4th sloka is there. So, so I'm chanting this mantra because Prabhupada always liked to before class to chant this mantra. Even Yashodanandan Maharaj he has a Gurukul principle. He taking all the Gurukul boy, he chanting this stotra, Mangalacharan for Gurukul after the Mangalarti. So even now, because I introduced in Bombay, so Bhima Prabhu told that every month, every other month, we should chant Prabhupada Stotra after the Mangalarti. So Bombay, what did they do? 1 month they chant Shishtataka after Mangalarti. Another month they chant Goswami Shishtataka. Or the 3rd month they chant Prabhupada Shishtataka. So like that, so Bombay is regular is going on. So this Prabhupada Stotra is very, very important also. So it's in my heart because of the mercy of my Prabhupada, my spiritual master. So I remember, so the people say, Prabhuji, when you chanting Mangalacharan, so a tear is our eye. Very nice, you always chant. There's a demand of the public also, even internet also people say that we hear your Mangalacharan very nicely, Prabhuji. So like that, people tell. So now I'm chanting Mangalacharan, this is my seva. Krishnai Kachet Madamaha Vinasakarin Mahadrishti Gauchara Prabhu Prabhupada Swami Dosa Bhavirti Paridushita Manda Buddhi Sanchintayami Charanam Tava Bhakti Eto Vindravane Ramana Reti Prasiddha Bhuma Tatra Krishna Balarama Supada Mule Jnanam Param Parama Krishna Sudami Juktam Dantastadaiva Prabhupada Namo Namaste 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 Kripa Bhuma Draste Namaste Namaste Mahananda Date Namo Namami Punaraksha Raksha Vide Videhi Vo Daksha Daksha Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Vasannaya Vasannaya Tasmai Shri Gurubhe Namaha Shri Banga Bhumi Janabhushana Gaura Leela Gauranga Bhava Parisharana Matra Shila Radha Mukunda Pada Padma Mano Bilasin Ananda Vashi Prabhupada नमो नमस्ते आनंदवासी प्रभुपाद नमो नमस्ते नमस्ते गुरुदेवाय सर्वसिद्धि प्रदायिने सर्वमंगल रूपाय सदानंद विदायिने हे गुरु ज्ञान दे दीन बंधु सबानंद दात करुणे बसिंधु बिंद्रावनाशन पति प्रसिद्ध राधा पन्ने पचारः जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की थैंक यू वेरी मच धन्यवाद
have a senior man, both in accomplishment and in age, Naranjan Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Niranjan.
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तो स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशे तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So first of all, I thank all of my God brothers for giving me this chance. Actually, 1977, I was in Bhaktivedanta Manor, and Srila Prabhupada was there. That was his last Vyasa Puja in Vapu form. Of course, mine was first. It was first. So, whenever I think of the Vyasa Puja, it gives me a mixed feeling of happiness as well as sorrow as well. Srila Prabhupada gave me specific duty for translating his books into Hindi, and he personally heard my translation, and about 28 to 29 letters I am there. In one of the letters he mentions that if you could translate my books into Hindi, that is your greatest service. In 72, I had one letter from Calcutta, where Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about the present day students' status. He said their main business is to become how to a first class Shudra, get a nice salary, but no matter how strong they are like the anath without having the strong master. And according to Vedic culture, carpenter, cobbler, although they are very expert, but they are considered as Shudras. And he also mentioned that same letter that we certainly know that the source of everything is Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabho matya sarvam pravartate. Simply we have to present this theory in scientific words. So he asked me to work with Swarup Damodar Maharaj and Dr. Ramanand. He is also one of the God brother who was in Gorakhpur, and he was a devotee who wrote Hindi BTG, first Hindi BTG with his hand, and they got phototype from Japan, and they are distributing those BTGs in Allahabad Kumbh Mela of 70-71. Also, one of the instances, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that Rupa Goswami explains that Uttama Bhakti is Anna Bhilashita Shunyam. But he said, some of my disciples, they are Anna Bhilashita Purnam. So how can they expect the pure devotional service? Again, he used to talk me always in Hindi. So I'll just give one instance. I would like to permission to speak in Hindi as well for a few minutes only. गौर पूर्णिमा 1972 की बात है, मायापुर की. मैं चूँकि कुछ श्रीला चैतन्य महाप्रभु के विषय में कुछ मुझे ज्ञान था, क्योंकि मेरे पिताजी के पिताजी सब लोग गौड़ीय वैष्णव थे, तो मैं प्रभुपाद से कुछ अनावश्यक प्रश्न कर रहा था. तो उन्होंने कहा भी कि इतने प्रश्न तुम मत करो, जो तुमसे कह रहे हैं इसको चुपचाप सुनो और हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का जप करो. तो मुझे बहुत दुख हुआ. मैंने मैंने उनसे क्षमा याचना का पत्र लिखा, जिसका प्रभुपाद ने टोक्यो से जवाब दिया था कि यू आर ऑल माई स्पिरिचुअल चिल्ड्रेन, तुम सब लोग मेरी आध्यात्मिक संतान हो, जिससे पिता का कर्तव्य है कि वो अपने संतान को एक सुदृढ़ नागरिक के रूप में परिवर्तित करे. उसी प्रकार मेरा एकमात्र मिशन ये है कि तुम सब लोगों को मैं कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस के विषय में कन्विंस करा दूं, जिससे यू कैन प्रीच दिस मैसेज टू द स्पिरिचुअली स्टार्विंग वर्ल्ड ऑफ द एंटायर दिस ह्यूमन अर्थ सोसाइटी. सो इन दिस वे Srila Prabhupada, there are so many realization about him, but I think my other God brothers will going to speak. So again, thank you for very much for giving me a chance. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much. I want to read an offering to Srila Prabhupada. The immeasurable mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Samsara's fueled by infinity, and in this present embodiment, so much sadness and anxiety from past lives start repayment. Partaking in mundane society gave continuous ensnarement with notions of false propriety through material enjoyment, giving fame or notoriety within a temporary garment. But divine love offers variety, sweet spiritual allurement, no negation or ambiguity, simply divine improvement, an endless bliss and continuity, nourishing a rasa that is still dormant. Srila Prabhupada, I am grateful that I am now securely placed and my destiny so hopeful at the feet of your divine grace. So now we have one very sweet devotee, Akhiladhar Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Oh, today's the appearance of Krishna's messenger to save me and all living beings in this universe. That's Prabhupada's desire. It's in the Caitanya Charitamrita with Vasudev Dutt in the purport, glorifying Vasudev Dutt. Prabhupada wants to deliver this whole universe. Like one bag of one seed in a bag of mustard seeds. If one's missing, what's the loss? We also have to catch that. Every one of us. To hook up with Prabhupada. His mood. His desires. That's not a joke. To achieve. So anyway, I prepared an offering, and it's the polished version is in the book, but I got my rough draft here. But I'd like to begin with two quotes. I go through a whole series of shlokas every morning before I start chanting and before I start operating physically, and shlokas so I can move with some clarity and some strength.
We have two people, you and someone else.
Right.
In the next 10 minutes.
I'll be 2 seconds. So anyway, this is a letter to Shama Sundar 50 years ago in 1968. It's become my main shloka that I repeat daily throughout the day to get fresh inspiration to transcend whatever I'm dealing with. And this is November 24th, 1968, when Malati and Shyam Sundar and Sarasvati and Gurudas and Malati and Yamuna and Mukunda went to London with no place, 6-week-old baby, just catching rhinos for Prabhupada. So this, it is to the sincere devotee, the ocean of Maya is easily crossed by the cool breeze of Krishna's grace. So this is our business, to submit to Krishna's desire, to have us back with him in the eternal sky. And when we are determined in this way, we become transcendental to the so-called hardships of place and circumstance. So I actually experience crossing over any moment, every day that comes up. I just have to repeat this slope. And I just experience Prabhupada's mercy. And then there's one other quote from a letter to Bhargava on June 13th, 1972. And this is posted on the Brahmacharya ashram in east of Kailash in Delhi. So the first thing is to become knowledgeable in Krishna consciousness. Then the tapasya, or voluntary life of austerity, will result automatically. So I am requesting all of my students to read my books very seriously, every day without fail. In this way, if your mind becomes absorbed at least 1 or 2 hours daily in the transcendental subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, and other books, then very easily you will make your advancement in Krishna consciousness. So, my offering, it's a rough draft, but I'll try to make it smooth. Please accept my dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances on this glorious occasion of your 122nd appearance day. Your mercy is all I am made of. My first encounter with you was on June 1st, 1975, through your sold-out devotees through your sold-out on June 1st, 1975, through your sold-out devotees at the Amsterdam Temple at the Sunday feast. I had been looking for a cheap place to sleep for the night. An advertisement for a low-priced youth hostel was plastered to a brick building. 3 buildings just past the temple. The same picture of Radha and Krishna that was on the cover of your Krishna book was in the window of the temple. I recognized it from your Krishna book, which I came across 1 week before in Oslo, Norway, along with your first edition of Bhagavad-Gita, as it is, in the apartment of a friend who had picked me up on the highway as I was walking to the Arctic Circle from England. That was my first direct contact with you. Because of you, in the form of those 2 books, I was inspired to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, on the streets of Amsterdam. I was chanting out loud, singing. I don't know how I got to sing it, but I was inspired to sing and take shelter, praying for the Lord's guidance. While standing outside the Amsterdam temple, I was staring at Radha and Krishna and the poster that was on the first blue edition, the paperback of that Krishna book, volume 1, that was in that house, in that apartment, a week before. And I was remembering that picture on the Krishna book. So I never left the chanting. Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. So I was praying for the Lord's guidance. While standing outside the Amsterdam temple, a devotee invited me in. I never left. The chanting in the temple room completely mesmerized me, along with the character and devotion of the temple devotees. The large temple room was completely packed with the enthusiastic chanting and dancing of your young children, getting a taste of the spiritual world with you as their guide. Your presence pervaded the whole ISKCON world as it continues to today. By the time prasadam was served, I was literally swept off my feet. I was afraid to stand up. I savored every preparation of a 15-course feast. I needed time to digest it. While I sat alone with my backpack, a Mataji came in the room and asked me why I was sitting alone. The feast was great. I ate too much, and now I need to digest it. Yeah, I'm just 3 sentences. Yeah, okay, I just finished. She sympathetically replied, "If you're not feeling too good, maybe you can stay here for the night. Why don't you go talk with the president?" I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to make an experiment with a very attractive experience. The temple president, Lochanananda Das, saw that I was serious about spiritual life and not just looking for a free place to sleep. So I stayed the night, and I never left, and I never will. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Your mercy is all I'm made of. Hare Krishna. Your eternal disciple and son, Akhiladhara Das.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a very, very wonderful offering. Then our final speaker, we've run out of time, Bodhinanda Saraswati Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj is our final speaker.
Hare Krishna. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नीति नमिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य विस्तारिणे. So just time is over. So maybe okay. So just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, he appeared and he forecasted that पृथ्वीते आछे जत नगरादि ग्राम सर्वत्र प्रचार होइबे मोर नाम. in every village and town, this holy name will be spread. But how it will be possible? It's not just like Smorahari Prabhu starts today speaking that no one can be compared with Prabhupada. Cannot be, even he can be compared only to Jesus or Muhammad. And even in India we see the preacher, the acharyas, like this Ramanuja Acharya, Madhava Acharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarka, even Shankaracharya, they are preaching field only in India. Only within India they preach. But Prabhupada, he took this message to out of India. He crossed the ocean. He went to the Western world carrying the message of his spiritual master. But when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he established the 64 Gaudiya Maths in India, but he tried, he sent his disciples to West, some to London, some to Germany, some different places, but they have not become successful, just returned back. But, so even the Gaudiya Vaishnava, they are thinking, Prithvi means, Prithvite Ache Jata Nagaradi Gram, it means just this India, starting from Kanyakumari to Himalaya. This is the world. The Mahaprabhu told this is because Mahaprabhu also traveled only in India. So everyone thinking like that. But it is only Srila Prabhupada. He proved that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that the Prithvi means not this just this India. It is Saptadipavati Mahi, this whole entire earth planet. So Prabhupada is he is not an ordinary man. Kali Kalera Jugadharma Nama Sankirtana Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tar Pravartana. No one can preach this holy name without specially empowered by the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Because Krishna told to Uddhava, Acharya Mang Bijaniyat. Yeah, Acharya, he is representing Krishna, he is empowered by Krishna. And the same platform that Krishna himself can do. So Prabhupada, that's why also Smaraj Prabhu told he was Senapati Bhakta. He is just like Lochan Das Thakur, he forecasted in Chaitanya Mangal. Mahaprabhu gave the message, but he sent his dearest devotee to fulfill his message. So we cannot imagine how dear Srila Prabhupada is to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to Krishna. He is so dear. Because Krishna himself, Gauranga himself, he gave all credit to Prabhupada to fulfill his message. So that's why we can, today is his Vyasa Puja, his appearance day. He's just next day, Krishna appeared on Janmashtami, next day, Srila Prabhupada appeared. He sent his pure devotee to spread his message, spread the message of Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of the name of Srila Prabhupada, the early name in his home also Nandu. People call him also Nandu because he appeared in Nandotsav. So we can understand this just like someone read the letter, Prabhupada's letter. Prabhupada was telling that in my whole life there is not a time when I have forgotten Krishna or I not remembered Krishna. This is the symptom of a Nitya Siddha Vaishnava. He is not like us, he is a Nitya Siddha Vaishnava, he is a man of Goloka. He came from Goloka Vrindavan, carrying this, just like Gaur Nitai bring this Premadhana, Golakara Premadhana, Harinama Sankirtana. So Prabhupada also came, and by being specially empowered by Gauranga and Nityananda, he appeared. Especially we see his Guru Maharaj, his divine guest Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He brought only Gauranga. His principle was Radha Krishna Nahevanya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahevanya. But Srila Prabhupada brought Nityananda also in ISKCON. Because Gauranga Mahaprabhu's standard is 1 lakh name, unless one chants 64 round. Mahaprabhu told, I don't accept that, I cannot drink even water from his hand. When he was Puri, told Govinda, his servant, you only accept invitation from those people who are lakhpatis, who are chanting 1 lakh name. I don't drink water even from others, I on Lakpati. So everything, oh, we are poor. So Swarup Damodar told that Lakpati means 1 lakh name, not the material money. Eh? You chant a lakh. So that's why Prabhupada, when he come to West, Prabhupada asked to chant 64. First he told 64 rounds. He told, no, it's not possible. Eh? Hippies, they refused, no. Then Prabhupada told, okay, 32 rounds. After 1 week they come back. They told, no, Swamiji, this is also not possible. 4 hours is not possible, chanting. That's why Prabhupada thought about Nityananda Avadhut. He is Avadhut. Eh? He has no principle. He has no he is delivered Jagai Madha. He is. So that's why Nityananda came. Though we see Prabhupada's own personal deity is Gauranga. We see in Mayapur, we see any place. In the case of Gaudiya Math, Prabhupada. But for us, the conditioned soul like us, is not possible to take direct mercy from Gauranga. So Nityananda came. Jare hamare kiniya loho bhaja Gaura Hari. Gauranga! Nityananda Prabhu told, if you chant simply Gauranga, or you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Amare Kiniya Loha Bhaja Gaura Hari. That is the principle of Nityananda. Nitai Padakamala Koti Chandra Susitala Jechaya Jagata Judai. So Prabhupada brought Nityananda to ISKCON. That's why Prabhupada told 16 round, no problem. Chant 16 round, attend morning programs as Prabhupada given, and it is guaranteed. You return back to Godhead. Because we are under shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. We are just like Kala Krishna Das. Kala Krishna Das went with Mahaprabhu in South India tour. He ran after money and women. The people. So we are like that. So, but still, though Mahaprabhu rejected, he told, I have no relation with this Kala Krishna Das. He did such things with me. But still Nityananda Prabhu kept him under his shelter. He engaged in him Sankirtan, preaching in Bengal. So that's why if you engage in preaching, the glories of Gita, Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we are, Lord Nityananda is there. So Sadguru, a spiritual master, is representing Nityananda Balaram. So that's why we are safe in ISKCON. It's not that Prabhupada told you have to chant 60, no, if simply following Prabhupada, we can return back to Godhead. Chant 16 round, follow regulatory principles, and do your service, at least 6 to 8 hour service. That is Prabhupada's principle. Then it is guaranteed we can return back to Godhead. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.